Good morning, operators. Stand by. Stand by. Coffee's hot, frequency's alive. 145.430. You're listening to the morning hum. This is the Coffee Break Net. Steam rising but the sunrise glow. Signals bouncing nice and low. Foothill light and silicon sky. Morning check-ins rolling by. Call sign ready, mic in hand. Voices drifting through the band. RF dancing in the air. Someone's mobile somewhere out there. Heat up, drop your sign. One at a time. You're sounding fine. Sip so don't rush the day. Net control will lead the way. Coffee on the console, radio's awake. Morning on the machine, give and take. Voices in the speaker, smooth and clean. So like riding on the beam. Checking out, don't hesitate. This is how we caffeinate. From the hills to the bay. W6EK Echo Kilo starts the day. Check here. AllStarLink been feeling strong. Echolink brings friends along. Mobile bass or handheld tight. Everyone sounding right. Morning traffic rolling through. Signal reports 5x2. Laughing in between the keys. Coffee cup and deep R's. Mic drop, carry a tone. You're never really alone. One more round, take your place. Good vibes on the interface. Coffee on the console, radio's awake. Morning on the machine, give and take. Voices in the speaker, smooth and clean. Sunlight riding on the beam. Check it out. Don't hesitate. This is how we caffeinate. Morning voices, RF stream. Coffee break, live on the machine. Good morning, operators. Stand by. Coffee's hot. Frequency's alive. Good morning, operators. Stand by. Good morning. Voices. Stand by. Stand by. Good morning, operators. Stand by. Stand by. Good morning, operators. Stand by. Stand by.
Good morning and welcome to the Coffee Break Net, originating on the W6EK Repeater, located in Auburn, Northern California. The Coffee Break Net is where the sun is always shining, the birds are singing, and the fish are jumping. This net is sponsored by the Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club. We're here every day of the week from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Your net control operator and conversation facilitator for this morning's net is Brian, AI6US. Brian is checking in from beautiful Meadow Vista, California. But enough about him. You probably want to know more about me. I am Monique. I come from a very small island, one that you probably have never heard on the air or have in your logbook. I have a very strong desire to become a ham radio operator. Will one of you be willing to be my Elmer? I find an Elmer to be so intellectually stimulating. Well, I better hand the microphone back to this gorgeous net control operator and let him get the Coffee Break Net underway, because there's no better way to start our day.
Good morning. That's Monique. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Monique. Monique just handed me a delicious, frothy coffee. Monique, time to go. Time to go. Thanks. See you again tomorrow. Anyway, good morning. That was Monique. I'm Brian, AI6US, in beautiful rain-soaked Meadow Vista, California, Northern California. Let's go ahead and get the hump day, the Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. April Showers Day. Let's go ahead and go through the national and international days, and then we'll go ahead and take a couple of rounds of quick in and outs as you start your day. Good morning. Let's see. Today is Secretary Day, better known now as National Administrative Professionals Day. Yes. Our administrative professionals certainly helped and kept my life organized while I had a large office. Big shout out to all the administrative professionals today. Today is National IT Service Provider Day. So many things in our world would not be in very good shape if it weren't for the IT professionals out there, including this Coffee Break Net. Big shout out to Patrick and Tom and Doug and many others out there who work behind the curtains to keep the Coffee Break Net rolling. And let's see. Today is In God We Trust Day. Back in 1864, the U.S. Congress passed to affect the inscription of this phrase on U.S. coins. Earth Day. Today is Earth Day, promoting awareness for the health of our environment. And here we go. This is, I think, going to be, it's hard to predict what the conversation is going to be on the Coffee Break Net, but today is National Jelly Bean Day. Sugar, corn syrup, starch, and a flavor. What's your favorite flavors? Original flavors have grown from the cherry, apple, lemon, and blueberry to now some very unique flavors like popcorn, cinnamon, strawberry cheesecake, and many more. What is your favorite jelly bean flavor? Sit me down with a pound of jelly beans and I'll ask for another pound. Good morning. This is the Coffee Break Net. Let's go ahead and take some quick in and outs as you start your day. It's hump day. Let's go ahead and put a shout out to folks in Northern California. So if you reside in Northern California, it doesn't matter if you're coming in through the repeater or through an app through the internet. I'm going to put the first part of this first round to folks in Northern Cal, which is where we're located, and then we'll reach out and take check-ins from around the world. So who's in Northern California? Welcome to check in for a quick in and out for the Coffee Break Net. update. K36SSN.
Kilo November 6 with back uniform. Kilo Bravo 6, Lima uniform. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
N6EKV, good morning, Brian.
November 6, Romeo Juliet Charlie, over.
All right. Well, that was quite the kerfuffle, but this is who I heard. I'm sure there's a couple more of you out there in Northern Cal. N6RJC, good morning, Robert. N6CKV, good morning to Carl. Carl, I'm going to put you at the top of the list. KB6LUV, good morning, Brett. And KN6WQU, good morning to Dan. And KB6SSN, good morning to Tom. Who did I miss in Northern California?
Kilo Oscar 6, Indy Hotel Juliet.
One guy was responsible for that much of the kerfuffle. Amazing. Let's go outside, and that's KO6IHJ. And let's go outside of Northern California, see who's checking in this morning for a quick in and out around the country and around the world.
This is KM7.
KJ5, Golf
Kilo Mike 7, Edward, Uniform Queen. Ron in South Reno, IO. Thanks, Brian.
K4LGI. All right. Good morning to Sam, K4LGI. And good morning, KJ5, Golf Whiskey November, Will. And good morning, Ron, KM7EUQ. Did I miss anyone? All right, to the top of the list, as promised. Good morning, Carl, N6CKV. How many hatch marks do you have carved in the wall of your isolation cell? I hope you're doing well. Good morning, N6CKV. Welcome to the Coffee Break Net, Carl.
Good morning, Brian, and everyone else out there. Well, isolation starts today. I become radioactive at about 2 o'clock today. I just had my blood draw in preparation, then I got to do a whole body scan. And your voice is a little bassy today.
Oh, can I keep anybody happy? I thought we had this dialed in. All right, I'll switch over to the other microphone that I typically use. I'm using the large hanging microphone today. All right, well, very good. We will be thinking of you as you start this process. Well, you've been avoiding the iodine for a week now, but as you start this process and then the isolation, we'll certainly be thinking and praying for you there, Carl. And good morning to you. Good morning to Ruth. I was going to ask anything else for you today, but a lot already.
Yeah, I'm going to be busy today, and then be listening to the Echolink and talking to you in the morning, or talking to Gerry and Theta in the morning, and in isolation and being radioactive. Anyway, everyone have a good Wednesday. This is N6CKV. Thanks for the net, Brian, and hi to Lynn, 73.
Okay, good morning to you there, Carl, and good morning to Ruth, and do have a wonderful day. I know it's going to probably be a bit of a stress, and I know you've been down this road before, and we wish you a successful treatment, and definitely thinking of you, my friend. N6CKV, AI6US. And good morning, Tom. I just switched microphones. Maybe you can just quickly let me know if my audio level is correct. But good morning. What do you have for the net?
Well, good morning, Brian. KV6SSN Tom here. Yes, I can tell you switched microphones. Both sound good to me. I thought the other one sounded better. I liked the little bit of bass added to it. It gave it a little bit more gravitas there, you know, and I thought it sounded a bit more high fidelity, but this one works just fine. The level is just fine. No distortion, good and loud, so no issues there. And my thoughts go out to Carl and his family. Yeah, that's a terrible process. But it sure as heck beats the alternative, right? So there you go. I guess you got to do what you got to do. So we're thinking about you, Carl. Hope it all goes well. Let's see. In the radio world, I got my hands on a Heathkit EK2 receiver. Now you couldn't buy the kit for the EK2 receiver as a kit. You had to take their electronics course that Kit put out. It was a 3-part course. If you took the first part of it, you ended up with an EK2 receiver. If you took the second part, you ended up with an EK2A receiver. And if you finished the third part, you got an EK2B receiver when you were done with the project. So this is the EK2B receiver. And the previous owner went through and completely refurbished this thing. I mean, re-silk screened the face, the whole 9 yards. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is absolutely mint. And had a really good time listening to the Jack Benny show on it the other night. It sounds pretty good.
All right. Hey, Tom, your audio is extremely low. I was able to copy 100% of that, but give that mic cable or connector a good wiggle. Well, very interesting. Well, you know, since this only was available to people who took the Heathkit building course, if you were the teacher, what grade would you give them for the build?
Wait a minute. Felt like I was dropping out there for a second. Am I still there?
Yeah, you dropped out momentarily, but yeah, the audio is back. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to swap out this radio. This mic and this connector needs some work. In any case, I would give them an A+ on the build. On the refurbishing job, on the rebuild, an absolute bravo Zula. The darn thing looks just fantastic. I don't know that it looked this good when it came out of the box the first time, to be honest with you. And it is just a beautiful little radio. Posted a video up of it, but I called it glow in the dark because I filmed it in the dark so you can see the dial glowing. So you don't really get a good look at the radio, but I put a video up of the Jack Benny show on the YouTube channel there so people could get a look at the receiver. I was going to bring it out to Larry's today so we could do a full demonstration of it, but it's raining today, and it's a pretty little radio, and I just didn't want to take it out in the rain, so I'm going to save that for another day.
Well, I came into radios towards the end of the Heathkit era, but you know, I certainly can appreciate a well-built Heathkit kit. And you know, through the years, I have seen many of them in thrift shops, and I've owned a few myself through the years of different Heathkit builds. And yeah, they went the way of the dodo bird, whichever way that was. But certainly, kits builds like that certainly are missed. Even though we have some great things now we can do with 3D printing and you can order a pick and pull board, a board that is specially built for any project you design. But yeah, something about that project under on the bench, and some of them got finished, and I bet a lot of them didn't. Well, good morning, Tom. Thanks for sharing.
And you have a wonderful morning as well, too, Brian. Oh, yeah, I did pick up some other Heathkits. I shy away from Heathkits because you don't know who built them. But Don at the Hamfest had the Heathkit twins, the Sugarbaker 300 and the Sugarbaker 400 with the mic and the scope and the gear and the whole 9 yards. So I picked that up from him, and boy, that is just absolutely pristine. He takes very good care of his equipment, and it shows. 73, have a great day. KB6 SSN.
All right, Tom, you have a wonderful day ahead. Clearing of KB6 SSN AI6US. And good morning, Dan, KN6WQU. What do you have for the net this morning, other than Mr. QRO?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, I got to talk about some of the topics of the day first, because that one definitely raised my eyebrows. The jelly beans, man. I think we'd have competition. I can kill me some jelly beans all day long. I like every single kind of jelly bellies, jelly beans. It doesn't matter what they are. I usually, I love taking the tour of the factory. That's always fun. Absolutely. Jelly bellies are my favorite to this day. I found I'm doing the Skittles jelly beans right now. They're a little bit softer. Although a nice fresh bag of jelly bellies are also is indeed soft, but the bounce or the jelly flops is what I also been tearing up, and they're a little bit harder because they're always to the wayside. Got my ground rod installed yesterday, and I had remembered that I had some 000 welding wire, so I used that to run up to the radio, and I used another one that run over to my vertical. And I helped my little issue I had going on with everything going on and off, and a little bit, not a lot, but I did a little bit. And the camera still hate it. But yeah, I was playing with it yesterday, even though the bands were completely dead. I was hearing somebody on 40 meters on FT8 yesterday, and it sounded like they were sitting right on top of me. But it was coming from Georgia, I believe, or something. It was so freaking loud. I thought it was my neighbor, and he wasn't even home. So I'm like, okay, why? Where is that coming from? But I couldn't hear him. He couldn't hear me. He couldn't hear me, but I could hear him. So he must have been just putting out all of it, or something like that. I'm excited to continue playing with this thing. I'm just going to try to take it easy for right now until I can get all the other wires and stuff like that updated. I want to get rid of all the camera cables I've used in the past. I used some, Cat 5 cable to run some analog cameras. I want to get rid of all that and run, actual shielded camera cable and stuff like that with some ferrites on the power wires and stuff like that. So that way, I don't have to worry about, popping cameras like light bulbs. Hi. Anyway, by the way, I did hear myself on my Bluetooth radio yesterday, so I don't know what that's all about, but I know what people are talking about when they can hear the voice on their neighbor's TV. Hi. Back over to you.
Yeah, power can do that to you. Well, just make sure that your ground rod is bonded back to your structural ground. Otherwise, you can have some imbalances, and you can actually, if they're not bonded together, you can actually cause some issues due to grounding potential. So make sure that is done. Excellent. Well, it sounds like you got quite a few things accomplished. You started chasing down some of the gremlins, and yeah, when you up your power, it's more than just the purchase of that amplifier. It changes a lot in the house and the shack. But all right, you love yourself some Skittles, some jelly beans, and I'll throw it over to you for final. But let us know, what is your favorite flavor? Something exotic. Some people like the fruity flavors. Others like the spicy. Some like the bizarre. There's one that, it resembles something that you step in at a dog park.
Yeah, there is that. I like all of them, really. That's what I was trying to allude to earlier. So, I like the fruity, I like the bizarre, I like the, it just, whatever. I just grab a handful of them and just go to town like popcorn. So, there's a couple of them, like watermelon, some mixtures, some tropical stuff they have going on. That's pretty good. But, it can never beat old-fashioned black licorice. KN6WT. Thanks for running that today, Brian.
All right, folks, we have ourselves a jelly bean connoisseur. You have a wonderful day there, Dan. Avoid the raindrops, and we'll check in with you later on. And I'd like to hear you on the air and check that radio out. Yeah, the bands have been a little tough, but this morning 40 meters is long and open into Asia, Pacific Rim, Australia, New Zealand. So you might want to check out 40 meters this morning. Completely different band than what you were experiencing yesterday. KN6WQU, AI6US Coffee Break Net. And good morning, Brett, KB6LUV.
AI6US Kilo Bravo 6 Lima Uniform Victor, Brett here. Good morning, good rainy morning from South Natomas. Yep, it was also raining all night. I'm not upset at that. We need the water and we need the snowpack, so I will take it. Real quick to your poll question yesterday at the end of Coffee Break Net. I do like your intros that you have created. I like the creativity that you get, that you get to show and kind of hear the different voices that you end up producing. So Monique was very interesting this morning.
Was she interesting enough for you to consider you being her Elmer? She finds that intellectually stimulating.
Be very, very quiet. I'm not an Elmer. Hi, hi. Good morning to my mom, Bonnie, in Newton, Kansas. She says the sun is shining there, but as we know, weather moves from west to east, so I'm sure the wet and wild stuff is going to hit Newton, Kansas sometime later on, either tomorrow or soon. I'm sure Mark will let us know about that. In terms of jelly beans, I actually will argue that Jelly Bellies are not jelly beans, and that's only because when I grew up with jelly beans, I wasn't a big fan of jelly beans. Waxy, not very flavorful stuff, and then got introduced to Jelly Bellies, and of course, that's a whole new ball game when it comes to Flavor Town. So Jelly Bellies is definitely the way to go. Belly flops, yep, that's what I usually get when I run down and take a tour. Yeah, jelly beans are jelly beans, Jelly Bellies are Jelly Bellies.
I agree. Jelly Bellies have taken jelly beans to a whole new level, that is for sure. Well, good morning to you, Brett, and good morning to Bonnie back in Kansas. Thanks for checking in, and you have a wonderful Hump Day Wednesday. We as ham radio operators talk about the weather so much, and I'm thinking about maybe introducing No Weather Wednesday, where you actually get penalized and your knuckles wrapped if you talk about the weather. What do you think? Probably not. Some people, KB6LUV, good morning, Brett. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate you being there, as always. So I won't talk about the weather. I'll just talk about the arc that I had to build overnight. Hi. Everybody else in Coffee Break Net land, have a great day. Be blessed. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. KB6LUV, Be of Love, 73. Clear and listening.
Well, I know now maybe what I should bring to the camp out to put on the shared treats table. Maybe Jelly Bellies. I bet you those would go fast, judging from this crowd. KB6LUV, AI6US, happy home day. Good morning, Robert. N6RJC.
Good morning, sir, and all the net. You're getting pretty good at that call sign also. I'm going to be heading off to the gym pretty quick. Got to work off some of the pizza Karen and I had yesterday. And other than that, just work on my CW and play a little bit of guitar and just enjoy life. Stay out of the rain. Other than that, I'm just going to turn it back over to y'all guys and monitor for a bit. So on that happy note, November 6th, Romeo, Juliet, Charlie is monitoring the conversation. Over.
Well, Robert, you are a creature of habit, and definitely nothing wrong with rinse and repeat on a rainy day like this. But have a great day. You have some good plans, and certainly sounds like you're not going to be bored at all. And, before I let you go, was this a homemade pizza or something you ordered in? What was it?
No, we went down to Old Town Pizza here in Roseville and had a nice meal and didn't do the homemade one. Over.
You picked a good pizza there. Yeah, Old Town Pizza, and we went there last month for our dinner, for our VE Elmer dinner. And yeah, I don't think you can beat an Old Town Pizza. Have a great day, Robert. N6RJCAI6US. Go work off your za 7-3. Good morning, Larry. KO6IHJ. When Robert talked about him and Karen running down for pizza last night, the vision that came to my mind was him heading home looking like the... have you ever seen the video of the New York pizza rat?
Good morning, Brian. Larry. I haven't seen that one. No, I haven't. I'm a California KO6IHJ. Hey, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to make this short because my dog's walking for the gate. So, Tom's here. We're going to do stuff, and I love any kind of jelly bellies, jelly beans, but licorice is my favorite.
You know, second time I've heard it today, licorice jelly bellies. Not always a big licorice fan. That's my brother, but I might give that a try. No, take a look. Google New York pizza rat, and it's an actual rat climbing up some stairs, maybe into a town row house, dragging a full piece of pizza behind him up the stairs. Larry, have a wonderful day. KO6IHJAI6US. Let's head on over to Reno. KM7EUQ. Good morning, Ron.
This is KM7EUQ. Thank you, Brian. Good morning to the net. As for the topic of the day, I really don't have a favorite, but didn't Reagan love the jelly beans? KM6EUQ.
For all the things that Reagan did in office, maybe that's what he's going to be remembered. Well, the Berlin Wall, maybe, but definitely the jelly bellies or the jelly beans in the canister on his desk. Yeah, he certainly brought some awareness to jelly beans.
Yes, he sure did. Here in Reno, supposed to get some rain. Believe it or not, they're calling for some snow, too. But we'll see what the day brings. The joke here in Reno is, if you want to know the weather, look outside, wait 5 minutes, and look again, because it's constantly changing. This is KM7EUQ. Back to the net. Thanks, Brian.
Well, it sounds like the perfect gift for anyone living in Reno is a weather rock. I love those weather rocks. Just look outside the window at your weather rock, and you'll great forecast and weather fulfillment. You have a great day, Ron, and enjoy in Reno. I guess it could be happening there for another month or two, and then somebody bumps the light switch and it becomes hot, 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 and dry. KM7EUQ AI6US. Ron, happy Wednesday, 7-3.
Thanks, Brian. 73 to you, too. And this is KM7EUQ, and I am clear.
That's one of the best sounding Echolink setups that of anyone checking in. You have that dialed in there, Ron. Good morning, Will. KJ5GWN. What do you have for the net this morning?
First of all, I want to apologize for yesterday. I was shopping at Walmart, and when you turned it to me, I couldn't access the videos. So anyway, sorry about that. Brian, not really doing anything here. We're supposed to get some of that rain this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and maybe even on into Sunday and Monday. We're supposed to get some rain back here. Hopefully no tornadoes, but we'll take all the rain we can get at this point.
Yeah, Oklahoma City and Oklahoma definitely, you are in a rain deficit, so I'm sure you're just like us. We'll take all we can do, all we can take there. Well, yeah, no, understand. Life gets in the way of amateur radio hobby. Happens all the time to all of us. No need to make any apologies there. That was yesterday. KJ5GWN, good morning to you there, Will. And, yeah, keep us updated. Any advances you make on that HF install. And I look forward to getting you in the log here soon. KJ5GWN, AI6US. Happy Wednesday, Will.
730, Brian, and I'm supposed to have a couple of guys come over maybe tomorrow or next Thursday and check out the antenna situation and get me dialed in on HF. This is KJ5 Golf Whiskey November. We're listening.
All right, Will. Happy Wednesday to you. Clearing with KJ5 Golf Whiskey November, and good morning, Sam, over in Denver, K4LGI. What do you have for the net this morning, Sam?
Good morning, Brian. Everybody in the net here from Denver. 65, very sunny and nice. Everybody's sounding really good. Your tech troopers there really got things tweaked up because on my phone it sounds like the entire screen is talking. Very unusual and quite nice. And Roger and Monique, a very good way to start out there in the morning. Sounds great, if you know what I mean, there in Chili Bean. And not too many things going on here. Yeah, I remember Reagan there with the beans on the desk, one of my presidential faves, and he quite often they'd grab some there, and while he was on it, talking on the videos or whatever. So anyway, we'll keep it short. I might have to get a new phone, but it sounds so good this morning, I think I hesitate for a day or two. Very good sound. K4LGI, thank you.
Yeah, when you mention him just sitting behind the desk, grabbing a handful of jelly beans, I just somehow picture him and Ollie North sitting there talking about guns, well, eating a handful of Jelly Bellies, and maybe even that meeting with Gorbachev. Maybe that was the incentive to tear down this wall. So I can hand you some jelly beans. Sam, you have a wonderful day. And yeah, I'm glad to hear the audio sounded great for you today. And yeah, I finally got everything dialed in on my end, and I have a wonderful working system, and I didn't have to stay up to 4:30 last night. So I finished up around 1 a.m. and quite happy with the results. K4LGI, AI6US, do you have a favorite jelly bean flavor before I let you go?
Everything but licorice. Whatever. See you later.
Yeah, licorice is kind of a defining, that is the line in the sand. That some people will not cross. Others just thrive on it. K4LGI, AI6US. Have a wonderful day, Sam. Happy hump day. Good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Break Net, where the sun is always shining, the birds are singing, and the fish are jumping. I'm Brian, AI6US, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Coffee Break Net. Today is Secretary Day, known now as National Administrative Professionals Day. Today is National IT Service Provider Day. Big shout out to the people that keep our IT system going here for the Coffee Break Net. Patrick N2DYI and Tom NN6H and Doug W2VX. It takes a village to keep things humming along and working well. Today is In God We Trust Day because back in 1864, U.S. Congress passed an act to effect the inscription of that on U.S. coinage. Today is Earth Day, as we look around us and become aware of the health of our environment and what we can do to improve that. And today is National Jelly Bean Day. Ah, boy, who thought that sugar, corn syrup, and starch could taste so good? So good, so good. Good morning, Coffee Break Net. Let's take one more round of quick in and outs as you get your day started. who's out there.
Kilo 6EK mobile. W6JCZ.
W6AO, Jeff and Roseville.
Kilo November 6, November Uniform Foxtrot, Joshua and Wheatland. Good morning.
N6ERL, November 6, Echo Romeo Lima.
KC8, Fox Queen Victor. KC8, FQV, morning.
Well, I'm not sure if Anna threw out her call sign there. I saw the node come up that Anna normally comes up on. KD3AJN, was that you, Anna? If so, Mark stomped all over you. Shame on you, Mark. Is that you, Anna?
Yes, that was me.
Okay, I have you on the list. Shame on you, Mark. KC8FQV. Got you on the list as well, Mark. N6ERL, good morning. And KN6NUF, good morning, Joshua. And W6AO, good morning to Jeff. Good morning, Graydon. KC6SLE. And good morning to Jim, W6JCZ. And let's see. Before that, it was kind of kerfuffle. Who did I miss?
W6EKW mobile on I-80.
That's who was at the top of the list. Good morning there, Ramon. All right, let's work down through this list here, and these are quick in and out. So let's start with you, Ramon, K06EKW. The roadways are wet. Happy hydroplaning. What you got for us today?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning to the net. Now, I just want to make a quick comment. There is a jelly bean board game, and if you lose, you have to eat this funky, obnoxious, flavored jelly bean. Back to you.
Maybe that's where the dog dookie jelly bean originated from?
I'm not sure, but if you can think of something nasty, they have that flavor, and you don't want to lose in this game.
A good twist on the old drinking game. Very good. You know, some of us out there probably actually would want to lose so we could try a flavor. Anything else for the net this morning, Ramon?
Negative. Just want to say to everyone, if you're driving, just keep the speed down a little bit. You all have a wonderful day. Stay dry. K06CKW, clear.
All right, Ramon. Well, if you're coming up to the fall camp out or up to field day, maybe bring the board game along, and we'll see how many people want to lose. K06CKW AI6US. Hey, good morning, Jim. Been a while since had you on the net. W6JCZ.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Coffee Break Net. This is W6JCZ here. 280 days, 280 long days later, Zoe is one step closer to coming to the U.S. Our visa application, I-129F, got approved. It's the hardest part of the entire application process. The approval means I've submitted enough initial evidence to substantiate a case. Now they're going to compile everything, send it over to the embassy in Taipei, and she's going to get interviewed.
Yeah, quite the process, which certainly hasn't gotten any simpler in recent years. But wow, very good. 280 days, and now she can sit in for an interview. Sounds like quite the process.
And she's also in the system. They have assigned her a ARN, an alien registration number, which will serve as the way the U.S. government identifies her until she comes to the U.S. and gets her social security number. So I guess you can say it's a temporary, it's a number that they slap on you, right? Because the government loves giving people numbers.
Yeah, it certainly has to be troubling for folks who are applying to come into the U.S. to, just see the, a breakdown of our system. And, it's definitely in a position of right now where I certainly would not want to be trying to go through the system at this point, because even for folks doing things legally, it seems like it can be quite a messy thing. So, yeah, it's, I know with Lynn, even though she's a citizen and she holds dual citizenship, we had a discussion about, she's afraid that if she leaves the country and, is she going to have problem getting back in? It's an odd time for sure. So we wish her the best, and of course you as well.
Yeah, thank you. And probably still aiming for the end of the year. That's still what it's looking like. Probably October, November, when I'll go there, take a trip, and bring her back. Anyhow, that's all I've got. It is coming down here on I-5. I-80 might clear up. I don't see dark clouds in that direction, but just put the cruise control on and pay attention to the slippery roads here. W6JCZ, back to net.
Yeah, it was quite something yesterday. Folks starting up north and then down through the valley. You guys had cloud cover and rainfall, and we still had blue skies and sunshine up through sunset. It was quite something. Have a great day, Jim. Thanks for checking in. Always a pleasure to have you drop by. W6JCZ, AI6US, and 73.
73, Brian, W6JCZ.
Good morning, Graydon, KC6SLE. Boy, you're the Will Prowse of the W6EK Repeater and Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Ned. Yeah, we should talk about the new, I mentioned it yesterday, but I don't think you heard it yesterday, that I got the new Eco-worthy metal case battery. Pretty impressed.
No, and I've been following along as you open it up, and you're, the great thing about that battery, kind of like the battery I have from Time US, a removable case, and you can see exactly what's inside of it without compromising it and taking a saw to it. So, it sounds like some things you were happy with, other things you were questioning.
The construction of the battery is very good. I'm kind of particular about that kind of thing. It's got a really nice cage inside, a subframe inside to hold the prismatic cells, keep them from swelling during use. That's normal for a prismatic cell. The connections are all welded. The bus bars are all nickel bus bars, and they are substantial. Wiring looks good. I like the way they put the wiring inside thermal sleeves to give further protection. So I have no complaints on that. The only complaint, and I sent it out in a note to a few of us yesterday, is that, again, you read the manual, it tells you one thing as far as recommended charging. You read the decal on the side of the battery, it tells you another thing. You read the little placard that comes on there, it's kind of like a little glove box guide that you can keep somewhere convenient. It tells you a third thing. So it's the inconsistency on battery ratings that you see with a lot of these battery manufacturers.
And I imagine a lot of them are just components that they brought in that supposedly matched a call for parts, and maybe some of those stickers were for another project. You just never know, do you? Well, so the Eco-worthy, I know you've opened it up, but is the battery worth keeping? And I know you're evaluating them against the Battleborn, which you're putting into other service. But what do you think? And by the way, we got a Eco-worthy, one of those orange cased batteries down in the vault now, so that is now our vault power.
Well, I think it's definitely worth keeping. It, the amount of capacity you get for the dollar with that and the quality of the build, definitely worth keeping. I would, and the other complaint that I had is that they show a discharge down to 9.2 volts. Well, nobody's going to discharge. If they're smart, they're not going to discharge it to 9.2 volts because what are you going to be powering at 9.2 volts? Your equipment's not going to be very happy below 11. So that's not realistic. I'm sure that's part of the overall capacity, but even discounting the capacity for the fact you're not going to run it that low, it's worth the money. I think it's a good investment. It's going to package really nicely in the trailer. It's actually going to package better than a plastic cell. It comes with some really substantial and nice feet that you can screw into the case and actually bolt the metal case down. So that's ideal for the RV because where I have it mounted is a metal plate for a floor. So I'll drill and bolt it down. The other batteries, I had them in battery cases and they just floated in the compartment.
Well, very good. Glad you're happy with the build. Yeah, the one that I'm talking about that we got for the W6EK Vault is a metal case inside of an orange poly case with metering and Bluetooth monitoring and 314 amp hour rated. So, yeah, interesting. I saw some pictures of the build of this battery before we bought it, and it looked like EcoWorthy definitely has some good products out there, and that's why I felt comfortable recommending it for the Vault. And Doug, the same. He's been impressed with it so far as well. Well, I'd be really interested if you want to share your actual testing. I know that's what's printed on the brochures and everything, but maybe share what your actual drawdown and real shutoff points are on the BMS. So good luck with that. Hey, good morning to Grady. Good morning to Lisa, and thank you for sharing your LifeBow 4 experience.
The app is really good too, and the app is going to make it very easy to. You don't need anything sophisticated to test the battery, to test the capacity. So the app is going to work really well for that. Loading it up is just simply a matter of putting a inverter on it with some electric space heating. Doug and I talked about the other day. You can have a sophisticated battery tester, but in reality, you can create your own pretty simply with an inverter and some electric space heating. So I will do that when I get some time, probably this coming weekend. I'll keep you informed. I'll keep you posted. You open the door to politics, so I got to throw something out there. The governor and the state of California are getting ready to invoke a ban on all fossil fuel-fired, that would be propane and natural gas, water heaters, scheduled to go into effect 2030. So you might want to keep an eye on that, and you might want to think about buying a spare water heater if you're concerned about it. KC6 SLE.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how politics shapes what's best for our communities. I can't even imagine living up in the foothills on anything but gas. So I'm certain that there has to be some exceptions, just like they've made in other things, because people living outside of suburbia, the other options just are not there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. Well, good morning, Graydon. You have a wonderful day ahead, and we will see you at the Saturday breakfast and fox hunt. I got relieved of one of my shifts for the upcoming races this weekend, so I have my Saturday morning free. So we'll see you at the fox hunt and at the breakfast this Saturday. Breakfast at 7:30 at Mel's Diner in Auburn, California, and then the fox hunt at 9 a.m. in the Mel's parking lot pre-meeting. And KO6I MP will be the fox tender, and I am getting my gear all charged up and looking forward to participating. Have a great day, Graydon. KC6SLE, AI6US73.
73, KC6SLE.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. W6AO. What's that this morning?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning to everyone on the net. This is Jeff, W6AO, on the sopping wet, beautiful back porch here in Roseville instead of the basement. The shovel antenna is down due to the rain. It is not weatherproof, so it needs to go up and be put up for the moment. So hopefully my signal is coming back to you.
Yep, I can tell you're standing on the back porch on an HT, but yeah, full copy on you this morning. Well, good morning. What do you have planned for today other than drying out an antenna?
Just drying out an antenna, and then we'll be installing a new shower head in the shower. Our nice shower head finally bit the dust, so had to get it replaced. We've got a little dual nozzle thing set up with the rainforest waterfall in the secondary extension and a handheld with 4 settings that my wife is really excited for.
Yes, indeed. Redid the shower in the ensuite, and did the ripped out a tub and put in the whole shower pan, enclosure pan, the whole bit, starting back in November, and that was one of the additions that we did. And yeah, I was a fool. I installed it with the flow constrictor installed. So just a word of advice: be prepared. Test it, and if you like the flow, keep it in there. If not, remove it and reinstall. So I am getting ready to break it down and remove the flow restrictor. And everybody out there who's getting ready to report me.
Roger on that. The only last 2 bits that I have for the net are 1 for Jim, W6JCZ. The ARN, or Alien Residential Number, will eventually become the USCIS number, which is the identification number on the green card. So very important, the permanent residency card, a.k.a. green card, we'll call it that. So an important number, so that's a great first step. Happy to hear it. And then secondly, for Brett, KB6LUV, I thought it was pretty humorous when he, in the same sentence, said, I am not an Elmer, yet then continues on to tell us a story about the proto jelly bean. That was slightly humorous to me. Hi. Lastly, 4 jelly beans for me. Jelly Bellies definitely all the way. I do not dislike black licorice. I love black licorice, though red licorice is better. And my 2 favorite flavors would be root beer and cream soda, specifically AW branded. That is a great crossover to me. Back to you.
Boy, and do you follow the recipe books where they recommend which flavors to mix for different effect?
I've seen them and enjoyed them, but I can't say that I haven't had a Jelly Belly in quite some time, and you guys are definitely making me want to order some. So those will probably be showing up soon, but generally we are ordering gummy bears at the Lion's Den or our house. Anyway. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, even though I already have, so I'll send it off back to you. And back to the net. This is W6AO. I'll be clear and monitoring 7-3 all.
Yeah, the gummies. Lynn has been buying the Welch's gummy bears, and I don't know if you've tried those yet, but man, they have a refreshing flavor to them. You know, I thought that I had an addiction to Jelly Bellies, but yeah, these Welch's branded gummy bears are, they're pretty darn good. Have a great day, Jeff. W6AO AI6US. Happy Hump Day.
Brian, real quick, just lastly, I would want to say Albanese, ALBANESE, are the superior gummy bear. Back to you, 7-3.
You know, I'm just commenting on the fresh fruit flavor, but Albanese, I will have to check them out. Thanks. You know, I'm watching the Jelly Belly stock prices this morning, and I think this net is influencing the bottom line for that company right now. W6AO, AI6US, have a great day. Happy dewatering. KN6NUF, good morning, Joshua.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning. You're talking about and one of my favorites with the is the peanut butter and the caramel. Those three flavors together, that's amazing. Jelly Bellies, it's been a good part of my life consuming those, and I haven't touched them in years for good reasons.
You don't touch them, but do they touch you? Peanut butter and caramel. You said a third flavor, but I just heard peanut butter and caramel.
The third flavor is popcorn. I can't eat popcorn because it gets stuck in my teeth. So Jelly Belly popcorn flavor, and then add in all your favorite combos with the popcorn. It's an amazing taste.
Okay, very interesting. I wonder how many of us live through the artificial flavors because we can't do the actual thing. You know, I was just thinking of what would you add to peanut butter caramel, and it hit me. I wonder what it would be like to throw an apple flavor, maybe a sour apple, in with those. It might be an interesting caramel apple taste.
That does sound delicious too. I think we're going to have to come up with some games at the camp out with the different flavors and things. I'm sure that Alyssa can come up with some. We've been meaning to do a trip down to the Jelly Belly factory and do the tour and stuff with the kids. I just haven't gotten to it yet. We've been thinking of all the camping trips that we want to go to, so that's been our focus. We definitely need to do some Jelly Bellies.
You know, I'm thinking one of those little pill cups, you know, the little pressed paper cups that, you know, ketchup, whatever you want to call them, condiment cups. And I can see a blind taste test where, you know, you have different cups and people have to take a Jelly Belly out there and then write down what they think that flavor is. And that might be fun, and then throw in a couple of interesting flavors in there. But yeah, that'd be kind of fun to, you know, do some sort of game based on that. And hey, my hand is raised. Sign me up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. We were planning on bringing a bunch of board games this year to the camp out and do more board games and that kind of stuff. So I also thought it would be bring my chess set out and let it sit at and if people like to play chess, they can all take turns playing moves on it, and we can see which team wins, and we'll do team chess and things like that, maybe.
And then I picture all the old guys at a park down in Miami slapping down the dominoes. You know, I like it. Yeah, in years past, Theta and Gerry have brought up board games, and boy, their picnic table was always very popular. You're onto something there. I like where you're going with it. Well, good morning, Joshua, and sorry to hear you do not like Jelly Bellies. Yeah, you can give them to me.
Yeah, I love them too much. I will gladly give them to you these days. I love jelly beans and gummies and things like that. They're far too addictive. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great day. Enjoy the rain. It's so beautiful right now. It's coming down so nice and heavy. And, you know, and snuggle up next to them under a warm blanket and, you know, have those special moments with your friends and loved ones while you can. KN6NUF. Have a great day, Brian.
You know, this is that perfect day to maybe throw a movie on and stay buried in the covers and yeah, maybe a big bowl of Jelly Bellies right beside you. You know, it used to be that you know, people working in a work cubicle would you know, you never put out a bowl of Jelly Bellies because it would be gone and you wouldn't have had any of them. But now a lot of us are working from home, and that bowl of Jelly Bellies, I think that we have a better understanding of It wasn't the coworkers making them disappear. KN6NUFAI6US. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day, Brian. Have a good one. KN6NUFAI6US. Great day.
You as well. Hey, good morning, Peter. N6ERL. Boy, I haven't heard you on the radio in a long time. Welcome. Good to hear you again. What you have for the net?
Well, good morning, Brian, and good morning from 3,500 feet up here in the Foothills on Banner Mountain. And we've had snow this morning, and it has actually stuck a little bit. It keeps coming in waves. We get these giant blasts of fluffy flakes. It's pretty interesting this morning. And I was listening to you and Grayton talking about batteries, and just wanted to mention, if folks aren't aware of it, there's a really smart fellow on YouTube that does reviews of all sorts of batteries, including the builds and all the various tests. His name is Will Prowse, DIY Solar Power with Will Prowse. And he's been doing a whole series on the construction quality of battle-born batteries, and I would highly recommend people take a look at his channel before you buy any battle-born batteries. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you.
Yes, and Will Prowse is the basis of the conversation we were having this morning, because Graydon had all battle-borns in his RV, and he actually took tools to the batteries last week and tore them down to see if his batteries were suffering similar fate as Will Prowse's tests were showing. And while Graydon had older batteries, he was not showing the degradation that Will Prowse's was, but he just decided to upgrade, and that's why he's now retiring those batteries to other uses and looking into the eco-worthy. So yes, Will Prowse, Battleborn, I think they're handling this whole issue with their batteries very poorly. They keep forging forward, saying ours is the best and it's a feature. Meltdowns are not a feature.
Yeah, I've been watching Will's discussions about those batteries. You're right. They are really not doing a good job of handling it. I just wonder if they even have control over their manufacturing because of the way that this is turning out. But anyway, other than that, today we're doing an invited preview for a show that I'm doing the sound design on. So I'm real happy that we're to the stage now where I can turn it over to the operating crew and sit back and just enjoy the production. So it's a production of the play Rashomon, which is also a movie, and that's being done at the Nevada Theater, the world-famous Nevada Theater.
All right. I know that you were somehow involved with that industry, but I was not aware that you did sound design on stage productions. Very cool. Very cool. Well, it must be great to see that project get handed over, and I don't know what level of participation you have. Hopefully it's more than just a volunteer certificate on the wall.
Oh, the designers get a little stipend, but it's a labor of love, and it's always fun to put sounds where they need to be and make it so it's all transparent with the live action going on stage. It's a lot of fun when it all works really well, and this one's turning out really well. So I'm very happy with it, and glad to see it finally launching. Its opening night is Saturday.
It is so great. I've for many years of my life, I was involved in the creative arts and the production of film and video productions, and just to see to see a team work come together. It isn't just an individual; it is individual parts that cohesively come together, and it is something very rewarding, and something that I really miss. Being part of that community. Well, good morning, Peter. You have snow is sticking on Banner Mountain. I know these things happen, and they can happen up in through June. But you think Banner Mountain isn't that far from Sacramento? Could it be? Have a good morning, Peter. Thanks for stopping by. Put it on your regular schedule. Like to hear from you more often. N6ERL AI6US. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Brian, and it's snowing even harder now, so it's crazy. 7-3 N6ERL.
Oh, boy, snowing even harder. Yeah, very good. That's good to hear, actually. That means probably in the foothills we're getting a little more snowpack to take us into the summer months. Hey, good morning, Mark. Let's head on and back east and see what Mark is up to this morning. KC8FQV.
All right. Well, good morning. Jeez, a lot going. Well, not a lot here happening. Well, we got 65 degrees out here. The sun's out. I don't know when this package came. I didn't look out yesterday. I can't recall if I went. I went out early, but the package was a little damp, so I had a little moisture last night. But I had a call. But it's funny. It didn't even announce that we had a package. It just answered. I answered it, but it never made the announcement, because normally when they call, it says, you have a package on its way. I seen the call come in. It showed the ID of who it was, but no anymore. I will not sort of, because not knowing. Well, that one I would have. I don't remember I did, but it didn't announce anything. But everything else is going good. Did a lot of nets. Hell, tonight we have a net here. Probably a couple more nets today. I know that. Wednesday there'll be some Zoom sessions going. So, not a lot happening. Oh yeah, just everything starts in California. I heard on TV they were talking about on this old house about hot water heaters and that. About how they're going to be changing or whatever. Who knows what they're doing? I know they talk about some of the water pumps and that. They're coming up with all kinds of different things. And I think we're probably noticing, I haven't played with much IF, but I venture to say we're getting a lot of more IF and interference, intermods, and all this stuff that it's being created. So, other than that, I'll send it back to Nat, KCFQV.
Well, as far as the RF interference, I don't think I would be pointing to California as a source for that. I think I would be pointing to the lack of control over things being imported. Americans, we are a country interested in best prices and acceptable quality, and I think that's landed us a lot of electronic devices that had certifications and other stamps of approval where they were probably never tested. They were just moved into market. You think of some of the big names in past years, where major product lines were released with, that were just completely, I'm thinking about some of the, the devices that, we had on our handheld products that, they were just emitting mass RFI. So, it's just the failure of our system to control devices and enforce, standards. And, if we want to buy something at Walmart for $10, it should probably actually be sold for 30. So, California definitely leads the way in many things, and I think a lot of things they do right. And a lot of things you just got to scratch your head and go, really, kind of like what Graydon was saying about the gas water heaters. For those of us that live up in the mountains, or water heaters run on propane up here. If they were running on electricity, on a cloudy, snowy day, you're not going to be generating electricity, and it's kind of nice to have hot water without boiling it on the wood stove. Oh, wait, that's regulated too.
Well, that's why I was talking about that stuff. You were talking about, we want to get rid of the fossil fuels and that. That's what I was talking about on that side. The RFI, that's anything. But no, I was talking about the fossil fuel stuff that you were talking about. But now there's so much of the stuff they don't want to do all of this, these farms where they have the computer centers. They want to get, they're really gobbling up energy. Where are we going to go? Who knows? So, but that's why I was mentioning about California starts like, we ain't going to do fossil fuel. That's why I'm talking about things that they talk about out there like that. That's why I was saying KSFQV.
Yeah, well, I truly believe the future is not fossil fuels, but I also don't believe in forced integration of policies. You don't buy a F-150 if you're going to tow a 36 fifth wheel. You don't buy a EV vehicle if you're going to be driving 24/7. The technologies haven't gotten us there yet, so a mandated date of transition just is not the right way. It should be a market-supported transition, and if it's a good idea and it isn't harming the environment, way to go. But I'm not sold on electrical vehicles not harming the environment. It just hurts a different side of the environment and creates a different waste. Transfer of energy creates a waste product. We just need to figure out how to handle it. Mark, have a wonderful day. Sorry that your package got wet. KC8 FQV AI6US. Happy Wednesday.
Yep, happy Wednesday, KC7QV. Yep, we have to slow down, I think, sometime and think about what they're doing and the policies and that. I think if we go back and look in all the books, that's the thing. No one wants to read anymore. They go back and look at all them books. The policies they're writing today has probably already been written in a book. Case of QV73.
All those learned people, they're the ones causing the problem. Down with learning. KC8FQV, AI6US. Good morning, Anna. I know you just are doing a quick in and out and a quick hello, and I hate putting you at the bottom of the list. Good morning to you. I hope you're feeling better today. KD3AJN.
Good morning, Brian, and everyone else on the net today. Still not feeling good. Had another horrible night coughing, but hopefully this thing's going to go away soon. As far as jelly beans, I like all flavors, but I don't like licorice. That's the only one that I'm really opposed to. Everyone have a great day. KD3AJN.
I really, instead of tracking down what your flavor is, I think the real thing that we should be thumbs up, thumbs down on licorice. It is really one of those flavors that people either embrace or do not. It reminds me, though, my grandma used to have these little things that looked like a little pill. It was a white candy-covered piece of black licorice. Do you remember those?
No, I do not remember those.
I remember, and that bowl of liquor candy was rarely touched by me. But you reminded me when you said licorice. I remember she had a little candy bowl, and they looked like little tiny capsules or tiny pills, and they were white, hard candy coating, and inside of it was a piece of black licorice, and she loved them. And I always went for her jar of hard candy swirls. Well, Anna, I'm sorry you had another tough evening. That coughing, whatever went around, it stuck with me for almost 6 weeks. And Lynn has been kind of going through it. She's had it for about 4 weeks, and it isn't like, it's just, it is taking time. A lot of people have had it, and it's a lingering thing. So I wish you quick recovery from that.
Comments?
Thank you, Brian. The candy that you were saying that your grandma had was Good and Plenty's, and I did not like those because of the licorice.
Not good, but she had plenty. Good and plenty. That's probably it. Go ahead, NN6H Tom, with your comment. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Brian and Anna. I was going to say the same thing. It was Good and Plenty. It's a little white pill thing that had licorice inside. And as far as jelly bellies, I do not like jelly beans, but I will eat licorice jelly beans. NN6H. Back to you, Brian.
Well, Anna, you know now who to invite over to your house when you want to get rid of some licorice. All right, Good and Plenty's. And talk about, the people that named that candy must have been friends of Tom's, not yours.
That's definitely true. They weren't my friends, but inviting Tom over for his Good and Plenty's or licorice, that'd be a long trip.
Yeah, but Tom is one heck of a nice guy, so you probably would enjoy his good company. Well, Anna, happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for dropping in, and I certainly wish you a quick recovery from that. It's not pleasant having good sleep interrupted by those coughs, and really we didn't find anything that really adequately addressed it. I was taking cough suppressant, and it's just it turns into something dry that just lingers. So I hope that this is something that you bounce back from quickly. Happy Wednesday to you, and you will not find a bowl of Good and Plenty's at your house or my house. Good to know I'm in good company. You have a great day.
20 degrees very often. Rarity. Right now we're having breakfast in our retirement community. The sun is shining bright. And I'm estimated our high today will be around 92. So anybody that's shopping, I've got somebody here, my friends.
Well, somebody is definitely bridging us there, so we'll wait for him to drop, and then we'll see if somebody on the Fireside Network can drop that. AI6US, have a great day, Anna.
Demonstration, okay? Again, my call is Washington.
Yeah, is there somebody on the Fireside Network that it sounds like we have a bridge going on? AI6US W6EK, we're standing by. All right, I guess maybe somebody was on the wrong VFO or had us bridged there. Anna, have a wonderful day. Happy Wednesday to you, 7-3. Good morning, Coffee Break Net on the W6EK Repeater. Let's go ahead and take another round of check-ins. Who is out there this morning? AI6US, Coffee Break Net.
Kilo.
Good morning there, Brian. This is WB6BJN. Mark in Clarksville, Tennessee, and you can put me at the bottom of the list.
Good morning, everyone. Alpha India 6 Delta Golf.
KO6GH, good morning.
KI6, Brian, I'd like to do my recheck before Mark starts, because it concerns Mark and the weather. KC6, SLE.
All right, we had a definite kerfuffle there, but we will sort everyone out. KC6SLE for recheck. We'll put you at the top of the list here. K6DCL, good morning, Dave. KO6TH, good morning, Greg. KB6ED, good morning, Ed. AI62222, I think that's Joel. Was that you, Joel?
Roger, Roger. DG.
All right, yeah, you doubled in there, but I heard your voice. AI6DG, good morning, Joel, and good morning to Mark, WB6BJN, and good morning, Daniel, N9MUF. Anyone that I read back in for a quick in and out, other than Graydon?
KCG in and out.
Okay, I got K6DCL is in and out, and was that you, Joel, for in and out as well?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Joel. And did I miss anyone in that round? Let's make sure you're on the list. Did I miss anyone on readback?
KI6HFP and N6YG.
I'll only do that if he's right beside you there, Chris.
Yeah, he's sitting on the couch right now watching amplifier videos. He told me to check in for him. Boy, check in for me in that there net. All right, we have N6YG and KI6HFP on the list here. Good morning. All right, let's visit with our in and outs. First up, I'm going to do a recheck with Graydon. You had a comment, Graydon? KC6SLE.
Thank you, Brian. KC6SLE. I was just going to mention that my sister lives in Rancho Maderos, which is just above Madera, and Madera is just north of Fresno in the valley. And yesterday they had a tornado warning issued, and they actually had to shelter in place. The only place that she could shelter was in her hallway, but they actually did have a tornado come through the neighborhood. Didn't have any real damage, but it was, tornadoes do happen in California, but they're kind of rare. So I thought Mark would probably address that today when he talks about the weather. But it was interesting because she called me and said, "What do I do?" And I said, "Well, best place in your house to shelter in place is in the hallway." But they did indeed. I think it started in Viola. People probably never heard of Viola. And ended up dissipating around Bryant Dam, Milligan Lake, actually. So I just was going to mention that and see if Mark wants to address it in his weather report today. KC6 SLE. Thank you, Brian.
All right, Tom. Yeah, maybe we'll hear more about that. Not highly unusual to have a system hit the ground somewhere down in the valley, but we don't have many of them, that is for sure. All right, let's see. Joel, AI6DG, good to hear you in this morning. Anything for the net?
Enjoying the weather. This is definitely a nicer morning than some previous ones, although it is definitely still wet down here. Although a lot of it's road mist, not rain mist. If anyone's looking for something to do this coming Sunday, North Hills will be having an off-the-grid event. We'll be out at New Howard Park across the river from Folsom doing an off-the-grid event. Good chance to come out and enjoy the weather and see other hams. And if you've got a portable or off-the-grid setup, come out and practice setting it up and using it, or see what other people have for their setup.
Thanks for being there. Back to you, AI6DG.
Okay, very good. Which park specifically was that at Folsom? And yeah, I know a lot of us this weekend we are doing the endurance run, but that ends at 2 a.m. on Sunday, so a lot of us probably will be sleeping. But once again, which park is that going to be on Folsom Lake?
Lou Howard. It's just off of, I think it's Folsom Auburn, just north of the new Rainbow Bridge.
Okay, I lived in that neighborhood right up there on, overlooking that area, and I'm not familiar with Lou Howard Park. Okay, near Rainbow Bridge, so that's a good reference point there. So portable operations set up this Sunday. What time?
You can always go to k6is.org for more info, and I think we got a map up, and I think it's posted for 10 to 2, but I'm sure there'll be people there both before and after that.
All right, great. Thanks for making that announcement. I know a lot of people out there are interested in building their own Go kits and want to see other people's Go kits, and I know your group has some really nice examples of for portable operation. Well, Joel, anything else for the net this morning? Good to hear you on. It's been a while since we chatted.
We're also doing a What is Ham Radio event May 2nd up at HRO, just off of Auburn Boulevard. It's just basically a bunch of us getting together and having a presentation for non-hams to show up and see what ham radio is all about. We'll be having a bunch of demonstrations of ham radio activities, and I'm sure there's more info on that also at is.org. That's on May 2nd.
Yeah, I saw that. Maybe it was in the ARL Sac Valley. I did see that mentioned somewhere. Well, very good. What is ham radio? What a great tie-in for HRO. What is ham radio? Bring your wallet and find out. Well, very good. Good to see you involved in those events. And, of course, Carol, KP4MD, came on the other day and reminded us that the Sacramento County, the California State Fair is going to be coming up, and there will be a amateur radio station set up there for outreach into the community, and that the sign-up would be available soon. So some great opportunities to promote amateur radio into our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the venue to advertise these events. AI6DG.
All right, Joel, you have a wonderful day, and thanks for checking in. More information on these events, check out k6is.org. And if you don't have anything planned for this Sunday, head on down to Lou Howard Park, down on Folsom Lake, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thanks, Joel. Clearing with AI6DG. Let's see what Dave is up to. Dave, you haven't had much to say lately. Is that because your mouth is full of jelly bellies?
No jelly bellies, just biscottis. And just had my biscotti, and it was delicious. Actually, no almonds, and I'm going to complain to Nonies because they have almonds which can break teeth. Because they're a surprise. But anyway, I feel much better today. Had a great night's sleep. My watch phone told me so it must be true. And but I am feeling better. Hallelujah! It took this long, but I did take some good therapy yesterday, so to get that stuff they give you to put you out. And I wanted to get it out of my system and clear my lungs, and that seemed to work good. I was able to hold my GMRS net tonight, and that was okay. Lots of fun for me. And, it's always nice to connect to friends at least once a week and see how they're doing. Anyway, other than that, I was going to say something. Darn. Anyway, I wanted to say good day to you. Have a great week, Brian. I'll talk to you next week, and have a good day. You're always great. Thank you for being there. Appreciate it. K6DCL73.
Well, I know the doctor promised you the ability to have your plumbing operate like a teenager again. Well, inquiring minds want to know. You think you're going to be able to do longhand cursive, signing your name in the snow this next year?
After tonight, Brian, last night, getting up to relieve myself, there was no pain. There was no stuttering. There was no blockage. It was perfect, and I almost had a tear in my eye. Not quite 7 years old, but almost. K6DCL.
I guess what's more important, riding longhand in the snow, maybe it's better to say, can you write, shorthand with breaks between the letters? Well, it certainly would have been a shock had your doctor said, we found the cause of your issues. It's, do you consume biscottis? I think you better cut off on them. Good morning to you. Good morning to Lucy. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll catch you next week. Always a pleasure. 7-3.
I'm glad I can make somebody laugh. K6DCL. We'll listen.
Oh, I hear you make Lucy laugh all the time, but is it for the right reasons? You have a great day. Clearing with K6DCL, a little poke, a little fun there. Mean nothing by it. Good morning, Daniel. N9MUF. What do you have for us today?
Unfortunately, Brian, not the Scotties.
Hey, I had a biscotti this morning with my coffee. I've learned, though, that I cannot do the net while enjoying a biscotti. It doesn't, it's hard to, they're delicious, but kind of difficult to speak into a microphone without clearing the biscotti first. Biscottis are pre-net. Hey, good morning, Daniel. What do you have for us today? It's not biscottis.
No, not biscottis. My breakfast this morning were English muffins with some wonderful Marmite. I think I'm the only American I've ever known who's finished an entire jar, well, 2 entire jars of Marmite.
Okay, so tell me, how is Marmite different than, I come from a land down under? I'm trying to remember what they call it down there. Is that the same stuff?
You're referring to Vegemite, which I've never actually had. I've had the Marmite, and they started making the Vegemite due to travel constraints during, I think, World War I.
Vegemite, there we go. Here's AI's description of Vegemite. A thick, salty, slightly bitter Australian spread with an earthy, savory flavor. Marmite is runnier, stickier, and more intense. A British yeast extract with bold, slightly sweet, and tangy taste. My mom used to serve Vegemite to me, and I wasn't a fan of that, but maybe Marmite I might be.
I discovered it over in India. A British family had brought, their store of Marmite over, and I remember a friend of mine from England came over to visit, and they said, "Well, what would you like?" And I was like, "Marmite." And they're like, "You've got to be kidding me." "No, seriously, Marmite." "But you're American." I know. Give it a shot."
Yeah, I was really surprised in the 80s when Vegemite made it into the top 40 musical rotation because my mom used to put it on homemade whole wheat bread, and I love homemade whole wheat bread with tons of real butter on it, toasted. So the Vegemite is yours, maybe along with the licorice Jelly Bellies.
Oh, no, I will take a pass on almost anything anise-based. There's a gin out there that I absolutely do not like. All it tastes like is black licorice.
I'm glad you pronounced that correctly.
I pronounce black licorice the same way you pronounce kale.
All right. Well, sometimes I make myself laugh. I'm sorry I didn't make you laugh. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm not my brother just absolutely loves black licorice. He consumes it, and he's a connoisseur of the best manufacturer of, and he likes the whips and everything. For me, yeah, there's not enough mouthwash and toothpaste that can cleanse.
Oh, I agree with that. And no, I was very much laughing along with it. If you will, training where you just kind of pull it together for the microphone, which I know you've got, I think several other, I know Smitty's got, and it's funny how it kicks in with me every now and then on the net.
Well, all dark humor aside, good morning to you. Let's start this one over. Good morning. What do you have for the net this morning?
Well, we've got a gray and rainy day here in Chicagoland. I mean, it's warm, but unless I want a motorcycle wash, I doubt I'll be heading outside. And for me, I'm going to take a bit of a mental health day, working on some cleaning around the office. I've got to schedule a couple more interviews. I've got 3 lined up this week that I need to take care of, which is a good thing. But putting in, I think, 45 applications over the last 2 days, I woke up this morning and went, why am I so, that's why you did what they told you not to do, which is, keep going after you're supposed to quit.
That's what we're encouraged to do. Everything else in life, at some point we learn moderation, but unfortunately quite often we're taught to give it all you got and a little bit more. So, yeah, and by the way, I gave it all I could, but I knew when to quit last night. I don't know if you can tell the audio difference, but I am celebrating success. The All-Star node based on the UCI 200 and the Dell 3040 computer. I have success. I have been able to locate both Allmon and my SSH and cockpit is all showing up on my network. And I think, the lesson learned, like you learned yesterday about sending out way too many inquiries and job apps, is at a certain point you don't become productive. And I just look at the many hours of sleep that was wasted on this when I probably should have just quit 3 or 4 hours earlier and hit it fresh the next day.
As I used to tell my employees, do as I say, not as I do. I knew I was the worst example for not quitting is where that farm training kicks in and you just keep on going. No, so today, rest mentally, some good office cleaning, trying to get it into the shape that I maintain the studio. I'll be trying those picks out that KB6LUV sent me. Looking forward to that. And VAR-AC, remember it's VAR-AC Wednesday, so if you haven't tried it out yet, today's a great day to do so. And playing around with Claude. Or I don't know if we're calling it Cloud or Claude or whatever the official phrasing is for that. But rather than writing that Python program to control that Alexa device, I said, why don't I let AI do the work? 305 lines of code, and it ran the first time out. It didn't quite work. But the last time I tried AI, I got 60 lines of bash, and I had to correct 80% of it. This time it ran while it had issues. When I fed the issues back into it, it said, oh, I know what I did wrong. Here, let me fix that.
You ever feel like you're training your future overlord? No, it's very interesting because you are, I don't know which platform you use, if you use Claude or one of the others, but I'm hearing some incredible stories, and actually, the Ether SDR is a perfect example of integrating and validation, not always getting it right, but, we're teaching the machine.
I think it's the difference, when I had to print the code out, I could, create the code, I could look over it, I knew what was going on. It made the same assumptions that I was going to, but I said, why don't I let it do the work? And I was able to give it the needed specs. I think but then I'm always one of those who has been working under the scenes anyway. And I'm playing, ChatGPT was what I used for the bash scripts that were not production quality, and I'm using Claude for this one.
Oh, competing platforms. I hope these two platforms never communicate with each other and find out you were cheating.
Well, the guitars already know that I cheat on them, so might as well let the AI platforms get in on it.
Oh, I know what you were doing to the neck of that Strat. Well, very interesting. At a certain point, are we just going to be validating the results of AI? Are we the ultimate test bench for training AI? And it's certainly interesting. I know that coming up here in just a moment, I think up next, will be Ed, KB6ED, and he wants to talk about AI and music. And it's just a very interesting era that we're in, where you have described what you want it to be. It provides you the code. It didn't really work. It didn't meet your needs, so you determined that it was your indication maybe of your need that didn't produce the right result. So, a little learning goes both ways, it sounds like.
Oh, it absolutely does, and it was making assumptions that needed a little bit of help. I don't know if I should spoil Ed, since Ed's coming up next with AI and music. You already know my opinion on that. And I don't want to ruin his time on the net.
I don't know. This is something that we don't do too often, but would you like to invite Ed into the conversation? Because I would like to have two musical artists have a discussion, and I will moderate and be prepared to drop one of you from the node.
I would be more than happy to do that, rather than offer my opinion and then have him offer his, and the two of us not get a chance to talk. I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Let's get ready to rumble. Entering the ring, KB6ED Ed, and his opponent in 9 MUF Daniel. Ed, I know you wanted to talk about AI and music. Would you like to accept this cage match?
Oh,
Oh, you betcha. You know, I actually missed that whole section of the net. I had a call from the VA. They wanted to get an appointment scheduled. I just caught that very tail end where you're throwing me to the wolves, Brian. What's going on? But I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, so first off, let's go ahead and have Daniel give us like about a minute or no more than 2 minutes of AI and music. Is AI a benefit to the creator of music, or is it a crutch, or what is it? I'm not going to guide the conversation any more than that, but give us, Daniel, let us know what you think of AI in music, and then we will have Ed give his opinion of AI integration in music production. And, we're not talking about the technical prowess of AI to be able to run a mixer. Let's talk about the creative process leading up to a recording session. So, first of all, Daniel, do you agree to this platform? And please do not grab metal chairs out of the audience to use on your opponent.
But if I can use the metal chairs in 4/4 time, why not? No, I fully agree with this.
All right, Ed, do you agree to the ground rules? No using the chairs out of the audience on your opponent, and all throws out of the ring have to be clear over the top rope.
I've got a couple of couch pillows here. I might grab those.
All right. Hey, let's throw it over to Daniel. So let's talk about AI and music, the creative process. Go ahead, Daniel.
I think the first problem comes, to be honest, is in discussing what we want to call AI. Because it could be argued that things like using a Melodyne can be a bit of an AI or an auto-tune or something like that. And I remember the opposition that first erupted when the Linn drum started to be used, even though there are performances that we absolutely love that use the Linn drum. One of them with, well, two of them with people who knew how to play drums. One of them, Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Mike Campbell used the Linn drum with that, and then Prince on Let's Go Crazy. Both of those are an example of the Linn drum. But there was a lot of opposition to that. So a lot of the question, I think, needs to come in, how are we defining AI in the first place?
Okay, Ed. So I'm not going to have you do a rebuttal on that, but Ed, what is AI in music production, and what do you want to, or do you want to address that directly?
I've got a bigger starting place that I'd like to come from, but I think if I totally get the drum thing. When the drum machines and so forth came along, I was so against it. I had family members who were actually incredible jazz drummer and trumpet player musicians in the family, and so when any form of mechanical or electric drums came along, I was just so horrified with that. But anyway, let's talk about Suno as one example of AI specifically.
Okay, so
my take on Suno is I've never used it, but in hearing the reports of it, and I'm saying I never use it because the idea of it gives me hives, and I think part of it is it's a question of how are you using it. If you're having trouble, if you're writing a song and having trouble getting over a hump, and say, give me 3 potential options, that could be reasonable. But when it just sits there and absolutely tries to do everything for you is when I start reacting to it. Same kind of reaction I have at times to Band in a Box or something similar to that, and it's a question of how much are we
calling something creativity that is merely reproductivity.
Comment.
Yeah, let's hold on the comments for a while. We're going to have a little establishing conversation here. Go ahead, Ed.
I think AI music is absolutely just incredible. I was totally against it when they first started talking about AI music. I just thought that's just the most obscene thing you could bring into our society and into the human experience. I had my mindset that I was not going to listen to AI music. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I've totally done a 180 when I experienced Suno. You can control so much. I can create stuff, and I feel like I don't have any qualms about saying that I made that, I created that. And I just want to jump back and say that we didn't even have the ability to record music. If you weren't there at a performance, like the phonograph was invented, and people didn't have it in their homes. It was a rarity. And for many, many years, people didn't have access to musical instruments. They were playing saws and jugs and spoons. Man, if you ever get on YouTube, you watch Abby the Spoon Lady do some incredible stuff. But they were, people just didn't have access to all that stuff. And I hear comments thrown out that AI is a fine tool. A guitar neck with its mathematical fret layout and its tuning heads is a tool. So I've really come around to where I can plug in my own stuff into AI, and I don't have to worry about the best microphones because it's going to use its models. And anyway, I don't want to throw it all out there because we're having a discussion, but that's kind of where I'm coming from now.
Okay, let me just, so Ed is coming from a place of AI music was not acceptable to a 180. What is acceptable? Just you giving the input of, hey, I want a country song that has a guitar and a beat of this rhythm, and include the words "lost my dog." And is that acceptable to be generated on Suno, or do you want to give more creative input of providing a musical base and then letting Suno build off of that?
Well, I think it has its place. I mean, just this morning there was a text message going out to my Air Force buddies telling one of them happy birthday. I jumped on Suno. I whipped in a few lyrics that included his name. In the past, I'd jump on on the internet and grab a picture that somebody else had created, just some kind of GIF, and grab it, pop it in, send somebody a birthday wish. Now I can send them a song. I can go in and edit the lyrics and tune it if I need to, but I can quickly pop out something that's just fun. But on the other hand, I can take my guitar and play it in. The web version of Suno has DAW capabilities, digital audio workstation, just cut and paste, and you can take something, make a sound, and tell it you want it to be a trumpet. They released version 5.5 recently, where you can record and model your own voice, and it doesn't sound like auto-tune. And it's going to keep advancing. I mean, it gives total flexibility, and you don't have to use it. I agree, it's a tool, but man, what an incredible tool when you just think. I mean, in 1960, Ampex came out with a third multi-track, three tracks, and then just shortly after that, the Beatles were working with 4. And when I look at the tool that I'm carrying in my pocket right now, and for $10 a month, I have the best collaborators. Incredible! It's just incredible.
Okay, you obviously did not see the red light in the back of the room 2 minutes ago that said your time was up. So over to you, Daniel. So it sounds like Ed is okay with Suno, just providing it a lyric or the integration of a soundtrack or something to let Suno develop further. So go ahead, Daniel.
I think it's a question of can versus should, and I think the other problem is you're getting into an issue really of aesthetics from a philosophical point of view. Years and years ago in grad school, I wrote a paper assessing whether or not using MIDI triggers during a performance could be considered a legitimate performance. And the criteria that I wound up using was the interaction. And I think what I'm hearing described is if you will, not enough interaction to constitute necessarily a recording of a performance. And that's my concern. We can already do things like play guitar and have the trumpet come out. We've had MIDI synths for guitars for years, and I've played them and I'm interested in it. But it's a question of can versus should, and does it constitute a performance or a recording of a performance, I think are the two key philosophical questions that need to be answered.
If we could, let's take it back. Early looping recording, Les Paul. Les Paul could not do that in a real performance, but Les Paul came out with some incredible things that have led to an industry. I mean, think of most recording that happens in a studio. It's almost impossible to have that happen in a live performance. So back to you, Daniel, for just a comment. Big advances made in musical production using technologies, but looping is a mechanical process that that really shaped where we are, even with AI. I think is the same principle.
Absolutely, but I would argue in that case that you're still recording a fundamental performance. While absolutely everybody remembers Les Paul for the guitar, but I think his greater contribution was multi-track recording. But you're still recording an instantiation of a performance every time you record. So you might, my own album, I was multi-tracking. I was multi-tracking one person. I would have to bring in other musicians to record it live, but at the same time, each individual cycle was an instance of a performance that's being recorded. So I still go back to the key question is, can you call an AI-generated track an instance of a performance?
Okay. I understand where you're coming from there, and I did hear the comment there, Tom, I believe, or Graydon. Going to hold off on comments for one more round here. So over to you, Ed. Ed, it sounds like you have a much more accepting stance on the integration of AI in music production. And I think it's much different when you're, and we might even argue this, that it's different when you are just putting together a quick little quip, happy birthday, and personalize it and maybe animate a picture that you took in 1970 to amuse. But when you're putting, is that any different than a musical score that's being put out for airplay or streaming integration? But anyway, it does sound like Daniel has a more even one would question whether the integration of MIDI, interesting start on the W6EK, you just keyed up with some crap. Just heads up. Anyway, so yeah, over to you there, Ed. So it sounds like Ed is more accepting of AI generation, pure out integration, where you just say, make me a birthday wish based on a country song, and where Daniel wants to have more touch points and real human generation. Over to you, Ed.
Well, I don't think that's actually what I'm saying. I'm saying it has its place to do that. I'm saying you can, and it's cute, and it's fun, and it's handy, and so you can. There's a wow factor there. You can pop out something, but I see it as just fully capable, also, and developing in ways that are incredible. You take somebody like Joe Satriani, who plays bass, he plays the drums, he plays his lead guitar and everything, and puts together. He's not doing a live performance and doing all that, but he puts together some incredible music. And I can sit with Suno, and I can put in a track, and I can add another track, and I can build. And there's a slider. It's called weirdness. I can give Suno the liberty to take control and go a little bit crazy or real crazy, or I can tie it down and say stick with what I put in, and just it just kind of it's substituting its own models. So I'm not, but I can put in parameters, and I can say I want to start off with 12-string guitar, I want to bring in a banjo, I want a extended drum fill, etc., and build. And I can do the same with the lyrics, and I don't feel like I'm giving up my handle of creativity, like Elton John. I mean, he was a musician, master musician, and Bernie Taupin wrote the lyrics. We don't say, Elton John wasn't really being creative because he didn't do lyrics too, or, Suno has all those capabilities, and it's advancing, and it just gives the control. I love live performance. I don't want to see that ever diminished, but anyway, the red light came on.
Glad you're keeping track of the red light. Okay, back over to Daniel, and then we'll just, I think Brett had a comment, and then Graydon had a comment. But, so quite interesting. It sounds like, for different needs and purposes, Ed, I thought Ed would really take a strong stand one way or the other, but Ed's willing to greet the Suno train as it rolls in, and each type of artistic contribution by Suno is welcome, because he can control it. Over to you, Daniel.
I think that using, somebody like a Joe Satriani or an Elton John and Bernie Taupin still goes to the core of what I was bringing up. It's still an instantiation. So in an Elton John song, you've got an instantiation of the work of both Elton John and Bernie Taupin. I don't think anything such as looping or multi-tracking or even MIDI triggering violates that. I've written MIDI triggers or MIDI sequences, wrote it on guitar actually, and then transcribed it in and recorded the keyboard sequence, but I'm still triggering it live, I'm still interacting with it live. And it's that ability to base it on that. So that's why my core thing is it an instantiation of a performance? And until it can be argued that an AI track is that, I have serious aesthetic questions. And yeah, I've got my philosopher hat on as well as my musician's hat, but that's what I get for studying aesthetics in grad school.
All right, so let's have a 1-minute closing comment, and then we'll throw it out to the gallery of commenters. Ed, go ahead.
Well, I have to. I tip my hat, and I'm bowing and saying, yes, you have an extremely valid point, and I'm there with you. I don't want to see the human element diminished or go away. Suno's been described as a tool. I took apart piano last year, and I was just incredibly amazed at what a wonderful engineering piece that is, and an incredible tool. But you got to have a human to play it, at least in, if you really want to hear beautiful piano. And so I give ding, ding, ding.
KE9AWY's comment.
Yeah, stand by there, Rachel. Appreciate it. I don't know if a piano is a good example, because a player piano, you could probably have AI produce a roll to throw in there and probably end up with some pretty creative stuff just using air blowing through paper punches. Over to you, Daniel.
No, I really have appreciated this. I think it's been a conversation back and forth, and I think, there's a difference between using a tool to help create. I'm not a lyric writer. I depend on my rhyming dictionaries to help me out when I get into trouble. And I record loops all the time, and I like to use loops live. So it's really a question, I think, again, of how much could you do that? How much are you being involved? And the more that we step back and the more that we let AI do stuff that we can't do and then try and take credit for it is where the problem really starts to erupt. And 9MUF.
So I guess the basis of the question is trademark, ownership, copyright. Should Suno be in the bylines? And I think that is going to be a discussion that we're going to have as people turn out projects that they claim ownership on, and then it comes down to Suno was involved, to X point. So it's going to be interesting for attribution on this in the future. Okay, I think I had 3 commenters in there, so let's go ahead and Brett, was that you? KB6LUV, was that you with a comment early on?
Roger. Kilo Bravo 6 Lima Uniform Victor, Brett here. I'll just make this quick. I am sitting probably right in between Daniel and Ed, but leaning more towards Daniel's side. It is a tool. If you are not a musician and do not understand how to play or understand the fundamentals of what you are doing, then you are not a musician. You are a prompt engineer, and you are just using that tool, AI train, to do something. And that's fine. I'm not gonna downplay that, but we need to be cognizant of how much intelligence is going into the tracks that you're putting in. If you're uploading your tracks and you're uploading your lyrics, or you're uploading blah 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 just to create something or help you to get over a hump, that's fine. But if I go into Suno and say, give me a rock song that sounds like Def Leppard of blah blah blah, and then I just put that out as mine, that's all bad. And I'll just leave it at that. KB6LUV, thank you very much. 73, back to you guys.
Acknowledging the human artist. Okay, thank you very much. And then Graydon, KC6SLE, you had a comment?
Thank you, Brian, and I'll keep this short as well. So there is only one true constant in the universe, and that is change. So change is not only inevitable, but change is natural. So we're going to have to adapt. And I'll end it with a quote from a Don Henley song, because I heard Don Henley mentioned a couple times. Get over it. KC6 has Holy.
Oh, but then the royalty checks, do we send them to Suno, or do we send them to you, Graydon? Yeah, Herbie Hancock, one can argue. Was he an artist? Rachel, KE9AWY. Oh, what's your comment?
Well, this is K9AWY. I have another comment about, unrelated to this, which I'll hold off to the end, about the Jelly Belly thing and what you guys could do, but that's for later. But about the Suno and the music thing, I wanted to bring up another perspective as a person with a disability. And I've heard of, I don't know if you guys have heard of Randy Travis. I heard this touching story, how he lost his voice, couldn't really sing, couldn't really do it anymore. Well, how did he accomplish it? AI. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing what AI could do. It's like it's helping Randy Travis do it again. It's like, well, he lost his voice, but look at Randy Travis still out there. And then you have people like Arlo Guthrie, who has Huntington's like his dad, and now he can't sing and play music. But if he had AI and he could still perform on a track, or have it help him perform, or help him do things, and put his old records in there, and Arlo could say, here's all my old records, I want this and this and this, it could really take off and help disabled people or disabled artists or artists who have become disabled, like Randy Travis and Arlo Guthrie. A lot of these people do things. So that's my perspective on it, and I think it is a good thing in that regard.
Okay, Rachel, I'm just going to challenge you on something. Val Kilmer is dead, and he is an AI actor in a current movie. Where does it stop? I mean, and I'll challenge you once again. Randy Travis, he lost his voice, but he didn't lose his ability to create music. But should he take old samples and recreate his voice to do something that sounded like he used to sound like? Or should he put his artistry to work in other parts of the musical process? Kind of like a drummer, with one arm, you adapt to what your abilities are. So I'm going to challenge you. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good challenge. I don't know if dead people should be playing music. That's like somebody saying, okay, you're dead, but you're still producing music. I mean, I know there are people like the Hanks, like Junior, and Junior was Dad's cover for a while, was Senior's cover. And, no, I think if you're dead, then yeah, you're dead. Okay, sorry. Hang on. Sorry, my screen. Hang on. Hang on. Let me rekey.
Perfect example of a human being interrupted by technology. The reason I'm challenging you on this is because, okay, you drew the line at somebody being dead, but if you, and I understand where you're coming from, if someone has lost an ability or they do not have that ability to produce something and turning to AI to produce it, then it's part of the human input, but it is Suno or it's AI that's actually doing the production. You're just guiding it. So that's almost goes back to what Daniel was talking about. But I don't know. So if you have your technological overlord in control, go ahead.
Yes, I do. I'm really sorry about that. Didn't expect three devices to go off at once. Sorry, guys. This is KE9AWY. That's what happens when you have a room full of screen readers. So I guess, yeah, and I guess with the whole Randy Travis one, I answered the dead person. No, dead person shouldn't do it. But if Randy Travis, for instance, still wants to, or Arlo Guthrie, who's still alive, really wants to go back and play music, they should maybe make him sound like he did, and maybe put the words in there and the music and whatever they can do. But I mean, in a lot of cases, that could be accomplished if you could still kind of use it. I think maybe I'm in the middle, and Randy Travis or Arlo Guthrie could really put in more, and sometimes it could be a prompt. Maybe Arlo can't play music anymore because it's almost like Parkinson's, But if you can put all the tracks in there, and you can still say, I want to play this and do this, and, then I guess I'm in the middle. So it's like not totally hands-free, but you don't actually play the instruments or do any of the singing, but you put your old tracks in there. This is what I sounded like, and it's still, but I guess I just wanted to point out the disabilities perspective here and how it could actually help a lot of people. All right, back to net control. This is KE9AWY. Sorry for the crazy interruptions.
No, and I appreciate the standpoint that you're coming from. But it goes further than this. Just because I once was a performer and I have appointed somebody else, whether I'm living or not, in my estate, to assume the production of music using what my former voice was or my former talent. I think this discussion really shows us that we are in a point of development that we still need to figure these things out. Daniel, I think you had a comment, and then we probably should get on down this list, but it was an interesting, I kind of like this exchange, and we should do it more often. Over to you, Daniel.
I'm just thinking of two musicians that worked with their disability in intriguing ways. One is a little-known German composer by the name of Ludwig von Beethoven, and the Ninth Symphony, which he composed completely deaf. And then also, we know Stevie Wonder. And everybody thinks about his keyboard on Superstition, but most people don't know he played drums on Superstition. Yep, that entire drum setup was Stevie Wonder playing blind without a click, and 9MUF.
Def Leppard came back. I forgot the drummer's name. Adopted, and just completely adopted the presentation, but nailed it. All right, great conversation. I'm going to get moving down the list, but I'm going to just open it up. If anybody else has one more pertinent comment on this, I've appreciated the cage match and the participation of everyone in this. It was sure fun to rumble. Anyway, anybody else with a comment as we close down this session of Suno? Artist or not?
KO6 KBH comment.
Okay, KB6ED, Ed, as long as you follow the red light in the back of the room, and then somebody came in underneath, Ed. Your comment first, please. ID?
That might have been me. KO6 KBH.
KO6 KBH, go ahead with your comment there.
Thanks, Brian. Hey, I'll try to keep this quick. I've been in and out on the conversation, so hopefully we didn't cover too much of this, but I consider myself a little bit of an artist, and I think AI's rendition of art is really just sampling other people's art. I'm sure somebody's made that comment before. And as for Val Kilmer performing after he's dead, I think that is a sin, and I do not agree with that, because Val Kilmer was an incredibly talented artist, and I think someone is benefiting from him who probably should not be benefiting from someone's art. I think there's billionaires who are behind all this that are probably going to make too much money off of lonely artists' hard work, and I'm not a fan of that, but it's a cool tool. I think it could be used to benefit humanity in a great way, and I think we're not doing that. So on that, I'll kick it back to Net KO6 KBH. I hope I didn't just set fires.
It's funny that, I agree with you. I think, 3D rendering actors who are no longer with us it's not uncharted territory, but it's quite interesting. I just hope Ron Jeremy never returns to the screen. KB6ED, sorry, that was a bad setup to throw to you.
I'd say that artists have always stolen from other artists. I shouldn't use the word always. That's pretty definitive. But, how many guitarists have you heard say, my influence was Jimi Hendrix? And there's a lot of times when credit isn't given where credit's due. We've got all these guitar players that are tapping their fingerboard since Stanley Jordan started that back in 1968. And anyway, I just wanted to say I agree with Graydon. We're just going to have to suck it up and accept it, because AI is coming. It's going to be built into instruments. All not just keyboards, but all manner of instruments. You're going to find AI in there. You're going to find it affecting the way people's voices come out, because not everybody can sing, and what a joy to be able to sing. And with that, I just wanted to say watermelon. And I lived with Monica, not Monique, but I lived with a Monica for a few years, and she was definitely exotic. Only problem was she wanted to be stoned 24/7, so I had to turn that one loose. But I'm out, Brian, KB6ED73. Thanks for the great discussion. Thank you, Daniel.
In all of our lives, we've had a Monica. You probably wouldn't have liked her that much had she been, had she not been stoned. That was the Monica you knew. Yeah, the Monique in my life was a Dutch Indo, just a beautiful, beautiful person that I wasn't ready for at that point in life. But that was my influence for creating Monique for the intro this morning. Good morning, Ed. Hey, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Brett, Rachel, Tim, Graydon, for this conversation, and we'll get moving down the list. So, yeah, we're almost 10 o'clock. We better get moving down the list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do it again. Let's see. Good morning, Greg, KO6GH. I probably should have gone down the list before we got into this discussion, but hey, it happened organically. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, everyone. Greg, KO6. Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. My less than 2 cents worth is there really a need to fill dead air so much that we have to go to AI to do that? I would prefer not to have the noise and chatter and just have real live people do it instead of being having to fill the air, to put something out there with AI. It's too easy to use AI to fill the blank space. I'd rather have the silence. But anyway, today is, tonight is In the Shack, our Elmer Net on steroids. I am, our next club meeting in a couple of weeks is going to be, I'll be the presenter talking about charging lithium iron phosphate batteries, what's going on under the covers, and we'll be kind of running some ideas by the group tonight. So if you want to contribute to next club meeting's presentation, come on into the Zoom room at 7:30, either for that or for any other topics you might have to discuss what's going on in your shack. And if you have any questions that an Elmer-type net could help answer, bring them on in.
All right, this evening in the shack, that's on Zoom. That is basically a net on Zoom. And if you want to be part of that, head on over to the club website, W6EK, whiskey6EchoKilo.org. Click on Join Zoom Room. That will be at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. That always happens second and fourth Wednesday of the month. And, to your first point of do we really need AI to fill dead air? The question is, have we reached the end of creativity for songs? Have all the songs been written? Have all the chords been written? Have all the, no. We have a lot of variations, but you're right. How much more do we really need? Innovation brings a new breed, and a new breed brings a new sound, and we are constantly evolving. But you're right. Sometimes even the absence of a running creek is refreshing.
Yeah, I am one who doesn't have to have music or just something playing at all times. Having your own thoughts and come forward, and just to not be forced to be into. I don't need something coming at me all the time. My wife's car. Whenever you start driving, it automatically connects to your Bluetooth and starts playing. It's got to play. Don't do that. Just, If I want to play something, I'll push the button. But don't force me to be yacked at, basically, all the time. Anyway, this afternoon I also have a challenge. Millie, the cat, is going to go in for a blood test. And she has a med that needs to get renewed, and the doctor wants to check some levels. So 1 o'clock, she gets to get put in the crate and headed all over to the vet. It's just a quick technician visit, but should be getting a chill pill first at lunchtime, and hopefully it won't be too stressful for her, or me, for that matter. Anyway, on with the day. We'll see you guys tonight on In the Shack, and looking forward to that. KO6GH 73.
So join us in the shack this evening to see how many Band-Aids that Greg is wearing after his encounter with Millie and the cat crate and the vet. Yeah, no, I'm just going to say I can read street signs a heck of a lot better when the car is quiet. When I was younger, I had to have music at high volume to read the street signs. Have a great day, Greg. Catch you this evening in the shack on the club Zoom room, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. KO6TH AI6US. And Chris, KI6HFP, long wait, but good morning.
Good morning to Brian and the net. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the topics of the day were, listening to the conversation about AI. I like AI. If it's used correctly, I think it's going to be, a great tool for everybody. Innovation. Yeah, that's the whole reason I don't have to have 6 different devices and 30 cables hooked up to my radio to have it hooked up to my computer to do satellite work or digital and stuff like that. Now I have a single USB B port cable that I plug in, and I'm off to the races. Not a big fan of jelly beans. I mean, I might have 1 or 2, but I am definitely more of a gummy bear guy. Deadlifts and gummy bears, that's what we always said. I'm trying to think about what else to say. I got my Masters of North America about 10 minutes ago, waiting on one more confirmation for Europe, South America, and Asia, and then I'll be getting those as well. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. I have if you look at my QRZ page, I applied for a couple of those as well. I'm not a big person to put plaques on my wall, and I'm not sure why I put them on my QRZ page, but it's something to look at if anybody bothers to take a look at my page. No, there are 2 plaques on my wall I'm pretty proud of, so I can't say that I'm totally anti plaques unless they're participation trophies. But Jelly Bellies was the talk earlier, but AI integration with music certainly had a great conversation run today. Well, good morning to you, and I hope you get that confirmation. And the great thing about one argument one can be made for digital. Everybody goes, digital, ham radio, whatever. But no. The rate of confirmation on digital is off the charts. If they're doing digital radio, it's usually tied into their logging program, which is tied into QSL, QSO confirmations, and my confirmation rate on digital, like FT8, FT4, FT2, or FT8, FT4 especially, is somewhere around 80%. Voice contacts, I'm lucky if I'm hitting 20% on confirmation.
Oh, absolutely. And, the other thing that I really like about digital is it really levels the playing field for a lot of people that, may not have the funds to have a gigantic tower and a rotator and stacked beams and stuff like that. All these awards that I've been getting on QRZ and EQSL and working towards my DXCC on Logbook of the World, all of that has been done with originally my dad's 7000, now my own personal 7300. and a homebrew end fed up 50 feet in the air on 100 watts, and I'm getting these awards. You can do the same thing on voice and CW and stuff like that, but it's a lot harder. You know, you got lids out there that you got to deal with, and then also you're competing with guys that are running, you know, full legal limit, and I'm pretty sure some of them are running above legal limit, to be honest. And it just takes forever sometimes, and you know, you'll try and work someone for 40 minutes, and then you end up not even getting them sometimes. So it's nice to be able to do a little bit of everything. I wouldn't want to just do FT8. I still enjoy doing voice and CW and stuff like that, but it's definitely nice for people that may not be able to have, you know, the best setup in the world. You can get away with a pretty marginal setup and be wildly successful.
You know, unfortunately, I think, well, I agree with you 100% on all these points. I think the unfortunate part of this is, you know, people get disappointed if they're not able to get their DXCC in, the first month on the air. And, you know, whereas, most people who've been in the hobby for years and years, you know, this was a benchmark that came after years of just diligent activity. And it used to be much harder. You know, your QSL cards had to be verified, and you know that was a process that took months, if not more. And sometimes collections disappeared. We're in a different age, but it certainly is more instant gratification. Not saying that's right or wrong, but I think going after the qualifying countries now is also one of those points of question where some of these countries have not been on the air in 10, 15 years, and questions whether they will ever return, and are they even legitimate political entities to be on this list. So quite interesting. There's a certain group of people out there that hold these awards, and they're rapidly leaving the earth. Not meaning that we should make these things participation trophies, but I think the whole system needs to be looked at, and the qualifications for making them on a list need to be really evaluated and enforced.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, like you said, no participation trophies. My grandpa and my dad always used to tell me, if it's something really worth having, it's really worth working for. And I don't have a timeline for getting my DXCC other than I'd like to get it before I end up in a nursing home. Other than that, I would be completely, happy getting it at any point. And it's just about the journey and enjoying different parts of what is ham radio for you. But, that also comes back to the evolution of things. We were talking about AI and how it's helping certain things, and now we're just looking at the evolution of ham radio. I mean, the introduction of being able to do confirmations over the internet is amazing. You don't have to wait for a paper QSL card to show up. You don't have to get a huge stack of them and mail them in, wait for them to verify them and send them back. So it's definitely starting to become a lot more streamlined. So I'm interested to see what the hobby holds for the DXers of the next generation. It's only going to get, I don't really want to use the word easier. I guess it's just going to start making more sense and be more efficient in the process of confirming things. That's something I try to remind myself every day, just to enjoy ham radio, because it's so easy for me to just get blindsided and spend 12 hours in front of the radio, jumping between FT8 and single sideband, chasing awards, and I have to slow down, and that's one of the things I like about this net. It allows me to slow down and just talk to people and, rag chew, and that's a big part of ham radio as well.
No, absolutely agree 100%. No, it's quite interesting. I'm sure the conversation is going to be had. I haven't seen it yet, but if you're using some of these AI-assisted noise mitigation tools, and some of these things are neural and built into the software now, not even going out on the internet, but is audio-assisted noise mitigation cheating? Should we go back to the spark gap generator and Only people who make contacts via spark gap will qualify for the DXCC. It's all evolution, isn't it?
Yeah, and I get it. The old timers in the hobby that really worked super hard to not only get those contacts when things weren't as easy, just from an operator standpoint, not even including confirming. And now they're seeing how much easier it is for the newer generation. I guess I can understand the frustration a little bit, but, as Elmers, we should be happy because it makes it easier and more efficient for them. Something I did want to tell you, and I can't find the link, so just you'll have to look it up, but I saw that they're going to be activating near either Chernobyl itself or right next to it, so that's going to be a DXCC that's supposed to be on the air sometime this year, so I'm excited for that one. And I know you like to chase DX as well, so while it was on the front of my mind, I wanted to toss that out there. And anybody else listening on the net that's into chasing DXpeditions, it might be something worth looking up.
How interesting. I will look that up. I read some snippet. It's been some time in the past that was in the planning, but very cool to see it probably actually with a calendar date now. Excellent. Yeah, DXCC, it's a great award, and, I hope that they do modify the program because there are some countries that, people just don't have the opportunity to reach that point because there's no activating stations. And then the whole conversation comes in, well, if you're not allowed on an island because of environmental issues, and you're permitted to drop a remote box on there, you have the arguments, well, hey, those operators were sitting offshore. They weren't on the actual island. I know it's not a new argument, but, it's part of that. If you are going to work an entity, that's going to be the only way that it's possibly going to be allowed. So, well, Chris, great chatting with you. Congratulations once again on one more award to pop up on the QRZ page, and thanks for the info on Chernobyl.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, people will find something to complain about with everything, but if that's the rule, that's the rule. Just be happy it's activating. That was kind of my frustration with the Beauvais Island. I didn't hear them at all, and I didn't hear them at all. Watching them from the second they landed, I was chasing them everywhere, and I couldn't hear them at all. So, now I'm looking at waiting until they decide to reactivate that island. Hopefully they will in my lifetime. With that being said, I'll send it back to you, KI6HFP. Thanks for the rag chew, Brian.
Yeah, and KK6MU, you bridged something there for a moment, so just be careful. Beauvais, I felt very fortunate. I was very persistent, and where some people are going, I worked them on 4 different modes on all bands, and it's like, man, I was just glad to get them in the box, and then I saw a breakdown of how many people on the west coast of the U.S., and we were a minority. So I'm so thankful that I just even got them on a band. Unfortunately, propagation didn't really favor them. Their low geographical location didn't really favor to the west coast, but that's just part of the challenge. Chris, if you want to hand that mic over to N6YG, if he's still there, or wake him up. Good morning to you, and you have a wonderful day. We'll catch you on HF. KI6HFP, AI6US.
Well, good morning, Brian in the net from Norway 6 Yankee Golf. How you doing this morning, Brian?
I'm doing. How you doing?
Well, hanging in there. I was just watching some videos on, I forgot who it was, repairing an AL82 amplifier. I like that amplifier. Thinking about getting rid of my L1500 and swapping it for one of those. I just like that 3500Z tube.
Well, I don't know. I know it doesn't make a glow in my shack, and it doesn't put out a pretty dust on the tube smell, but I love my SPE Expert.
Yeah, I'm not ready for solid state yet. I still like being able to work on the equipment. I don't want to be locked behind some company's firmware, and waiting for them to address the distortion issues and pre-distortion and so on. I know that ICOM and Flex have dealt with that, with offering pre-distortion on the higher end radios, at least the 7600s and so on. Anyhow, yeah, I always kind of laugh a little bit when I hear people talk about buying a specific radio because you can pull the really weak DX signals out of the noise, and I often wonder, do the people who say this actually? Oh, it's got all these great features for pulling weak signals out of the noise, and I wonder, do they actually work DXpeditions? Because I can almost guarantee you, if you're having to struggle to pull a DXpedition out of the noise, you're not going to work them because they're working the stations that they're hearing at 20 over, right? Listen to the signal reports. You're 20 over S9, you're 40 over S9. You very rarely, hear a DXpedition telling someone that they're a 4.4 or something like that. So if you're struggling trying to listen to a DXpedition, say, on Beauvais Island, which was a difficult one, you're probably not gonna work them. You're gonna spend a lot of time doing it over.
Very good point. Yeah, and I think, as we've talked in the past, a lot of time these specifications are not for the things that we really need them for. I mean, do you want that specification for your morning 80-meter rag shoe? Probably not that important. But yes, there's a lot of brand loyalty out there and a lot of trust on charts that, like you said, don't always have much to do with real-world needs.
Yeah, the kids entering the hobby now have it better than anybody else ever did in this hobby as far as equipment is concerned. You can get some really nice equipment. I mean, if you're not playing the specmanship game and you're not trying to brag about what you have, you got to have the latest and greatest. That's the computer generation that the industry has trained us. They've been spending a lot of time training us as consumers to always want the latest and greatest. So it started with the computer industry and upgrade. Got to have the latest video card. Got to have the latest processor. They trained us to focus on clock speed. You remember that? Like, that was the most important thing, was the processor clock speed. Ignore everything else that matters. Don't ignore the bottlenecks, but it's the clock speed that you want to focus on. Because consumers, they want it simple. They want a single number that they can use to quantify their purchase and say, okay, that's faster, I want that one. And that's filtered down into ham radio now. And so you see, I see radios like the 1000 MP, excellent radio. One of the best transmitters ever put in a ham radio. And I see those things selling for like $1,000 now. And I'm thinking, holy moly, that's a smoking deal for someone getting in the hobby. It's a little bit maybe overkill for someone getting in the hobby because it's, intimidating to look at, and it doesn't have a touch screen.
Yeah, but reality, is anything more intimidating than a Yaesu 991A deep menu set? That give me knobs in the front that I can twist and hear and see what they do, versus making me go 3-4 menus deep to make a basic. The front panel knobs certainly, I think, help people understand function and purpose much better. And you're right. I used to do coverage of meetings up at Intel, planning meetings for different engineering groups, and I used to do the video production on some of those, and sworn to secrecy as they're developing next gen. And some of the frank discussions that are had about it's the spec that we're promoting, versus the actual, do people need it? No, but I can tell you, I bought some pretty fantastic graphic cards that had more processing power than most of my computers that I have in the shack today.
Yeah, I guess that's really kind of an important thing now to stress. I know the club kind of focuses on new hams and kind of stress to stay away from the specmanship. That's a huge part of this hobby, or it has become, anyways. And I mean, a lot of us enjoy, doing things like receiver testing. I do. I have a lab. I have spectrum analyzers and network analyzers, and I enjoy testing equipment. That's just part of the hobby for me. But I don't engage in the specmanship thing. I think it's ridiculous. I wanted to comment. You were talking about jelly beans earlier. Holy moly! I have to stay away from those. I don't eat jelly beans anymore. And spice drops. Those are like kryptonite for me. I won't even let them in the house because I end up sitting there eating the whole damn bag. And I've kind of eliminated sugar from my diet. Refined sugar. I don't eat refined sugar anymore. One of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And I mean, I do occasionally, but very small amounts. Like if I eat a spice drop now, I'll have one, maybe two. That's it. And it'll be 6 months before I have another one. And unlike previously, where I would sit down with a half-pound bag of spice tops while I'm working an HF contest, munching on the damn things. And so I don't do that anymore. I probably get at most 4 to 7 grams of sugar in a day, and most of that's from natural sugar from tomatoes or carrots or something like that. Nowadays, if I want something sweet to eat, I steam baby carrots and keep them in the refrigerator. I love baby carrots. They're like candy.
Well, certainly a much more healthful way, and I'm sure has tremendous impacts on your health. It's incredible to see these studies of, and even in my stepdad, he was severe diabetic when my mom married him, and she brought in a very naturalistic health lifestyle to him, and he survived, and he got off of insulin, and it's incredible how the diet can affect spice drops. So I'm going to ask you one thing about your jelly bean taste selection. Did it go towards the spices or towards the fruits?
I've always been a little bit more towards the spices than the fruit flavors. The fruit flavors just always kind of tasted off to me.
Yeah, whoever had a real watermelon that tasted like a watermelon interpretation of a candy, we love them, but did not represent it. And I would be eating a lot less apples if they tasted like the sour apples coming out of the Jelly Bellies. Well, George, always great to touch bases with you. I really enjoy conversations with you and Chris. You have some good offspring there, and it's great to have you as a mentor in-house.
Well, I appreciate as an old Elmer of mine used to say, the basket of roses. I wanted to comment on the QSLs. That you were talking about DXCC. I would have DXCC from 80 through 10 if I can get people to QSL, and that's a huge battle that we have with this. I mean, I go through my logbook and I send emails to people. I'm trying to finish off DXCC on 80 meters. And it's mixed. I'm still working on mixed on 80 meters. I mean, it's driving me crazy. I have it on other bands on CW, phone, and digital, but 80 meters is just killing me because I can't. It's a different demographic, I think, and trying to get them to QSL is just nearly impossible. I send emails out. And I get responses. I get like one-line responses from these. I don't do electronic QSLs, or I don't do QSLs. And nothing else. No, hi, how are you doing? Oh, thank you. Just rude responses. It's like, what is it with people who have this animosity towards electronic QSLing through Logbook of the World or something? And then, send me $5 and I'll send you a QSL card.
That's another annoyance. It'd be nice, I'd like to see Congress do one thing for ham radio and pass the QSL Act, giving ham radio operators a special rate for QSL cards. 10 cents postage for QSL cards would be great, or something like that. Because every time you send out a QSL card, it's $1 or $2. By the time you pay for the printing and the envelope and the return postage and everything, it's just ridiculous.
No, absolutely. I actually have about 5 QSL cards, and I get it. I don't understand why Japanese stations send out a QSL card to me and wish a response and don't include a self-addressed stamped envelope, but I'll play along. But no, the postage for international especially, and you're right, by the time you get a QSL card out the door, you're into it for $3 easy, especially, if you put a self-addressed stamped envelope, which is another thing that the $5 QSL card is that I don't participate in that. If you want money for a QSL card, I get it. You're a rare entity. But if you withhold a upload to to any of the sites for $5, that is the one that really gets me. Paper, I get it. I'll send you $5. But to do an electronic, I get it. Maybe wait a year and then do an upload. But some of these places will not do any upload unless they get some cash, and that's proprietary. That's peculiar interest. Anyway, I better close out this list. Mark is going to have a short weather report here if he's still around.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Always a pleasure talking with you and the group in the morning, and we'll catch you down the road. N6YG, back to net.
George, you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Happy Wednesday to you, and thanks for checking in this morning. Let's see if Mark is still hanging around. I know you have another net coming up real soon. Sorry to do this to you, Mark, but, man, we have some great conversations going this morning. WB6BJN, Mark, are you still there? And hold back on the cuss words, please.
I don't like them. I never use them, thank you very much. I used to when I ran into walls, but not anymore. I don't even, I try not to swear. But no, you guys had some good conversations this morning. I did want to address Graydon's thing about the tornado, and this is, and people don't think you have tornadoes in California, and there's a prime example that you do. And you can be just as dead under a weak one if you're in the wrong spot as you are in a strong one. And so what he told his, I don't know if it was his sister or somebody, yes, whenever there's a tornado warning, go to shelter. And you shelter immediately. Well, I don't care if it's an F0. It's a tornado, and they're dangerous. And of course, the ones in California are far less dangerous than the ones here. They're not as rare as they used to be. In fact, they've increased. And yesterday was the right day, and I talked about it earlier, not yesterday, but the day before, about the Cape value of a 500 joules per kilogram and convective activity. Just the same thing that can happen back here, and that looks like may happen next week. We'll talk more about that later. But I know you need to close out the net, Brian. So I'll say 73s, and I got to get to my net too. WB6BJ.
Well, Mark, I'm really sorry to make you short on time today, but I really appreciate you being here and hanging around for that comment for Graydon. But you do have a wonderful day, and I know we usually don't do this to you, but yeah, that was a great exchange about Suno and artistry and AI, but really appreciate you being here. I'll let you go to your other net, And yeah, my bladder is reminding me that it's time to wrap the net as well. But yeah, Mark, you have a wonderful day, and I think, in situations like this where we don't have as many tornadoes, there's a potential for a lot more injury because we just are not prepared. We don't have the underground shelters, we don't have the safe rooms, etc. I personally, I'd probably head to the tub and pull something nice and cushiony over the top, some cushions from the couch or something. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things where be prepared for the things that you don't expect. WB6BJN, Mark, you have a wonderful Wednesday, and this is, of course, my Friday. I'll catch up with you next week.
Absolutely, and hey, that was very interesting stuff this morning, and so not a problem. And sometimes that happens, and I'm good with it. I'm all good with it, and we'll talk about the weather tomorrow, and hopefully you'll be listening for that when if you're around. Thanks, Brian, and thanks to everybody. Everybody have a great day, and we'll talk to everybody later. WB6BJN.
All right, Mark, you have a wonderful day ahead. And by the way, the sun just poked out. I didn't expect to see that, but it looks like it's going to be gone in a moment. WB6BJN AI6US. Good morning. Been a little different flow to the net this morning, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've certainly had fun this morning. I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there for the log check-ins. I'm going to put one person at the top of the log because he's probably halfway done with his steamed eggs. KB7DFP Ken, what's for what's for lunch?
Oh, how'd you know? Yeah, actually tuna and tomato soup today, KB7DFP.
Tuna out of the can or tuna in a sandwich?
Out of a can and just into a bowl. I stuck some mayonnaise and some mustard in there and just ate it that way.
Hey, cut out the middleman. You didn't need the the carbohydrates out of the bread. Hey, Ken, good to hear you, and I do appreciate you being there, my friend, and you have a great day.
You too. It was fun listening to the net. KB7DFP clear.
All right, Ken, you have a great day. All right, I'm going to open it up. This is for the log. Anybody out there want to get in the log this morning? I know there's probably quite a few people standing by, and you've been frustrated that you weren't able to check in this morning. But if you would, please spread it out. I know it's not going to happen, but I can wish for it. For the log, this is the Coffee Break Net on the W6EK Repeater. And just a reminder, no Coffee Break Net this Saturday because priority usage of the repeater will be given to the Canyons Endurance Run starting at 10 a.m. on Friday through 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So priority usage of this repeater will be given to the Canyons Endurance Run, and all AllStar and Echolink connections will be in monitor mode only, so you'll be able to listen in, but you won't be able to transmit in. So no Coffee Break Net this Saturday, April 25th. All right, with that, for the log check-ins, please spread it out, and I promise, I'll get everybody in the log before we close her down.
N2DYI, good afternoon. W8LPT,
Echo Sierra,
good morning, Mobile. Good morning, Brian. KBICLOP, good morning, Brian. WB7, UKX.
K6ESS, good morning.
AK6NS, Alpha Kilo 6 November Sierra.
Whiskey 6, Sierra Tango Whiskey.
KN6 SSP, and when are we going to have a national day for a gorgeous net operator? And what does Lynn think about Monique in the house?
Whiskey Bravo 3, Charlie Sierra Yankee for the log. Thanks, Brian.
Okay, we had a key up from Whiskey 6 Golf Romeo Charlie, the Orland repeater. You have no audio. Do you want to try that again? Boy, I hope that we can work things out on that repeater. I know a lot of people try getting in on it, and it sounds like they have a problem with the audio forward. Good morning, Rick, WB3CSY. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for checking in. Art, yeah, I don't know what to say. I hope Lynn and Monique can get along. Maybe we'll have to turn one of these AI creatures loose to be net control operator one of these times, see how that goes. KN6SSP, great to hear you in this morning. Good morning, Maurice. Whiskey 6 Sierra Tango Whiskey, got you in the log. Happy Wednesday to you. And let's see, I'm struggling with my own handwriting. And good morning, AK6NS. That would be Ray. Got you in the log there, Ray. And let's see, here's a call that I haven't heard for a long time. I heard a 6ESS. Help me out here if you would. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that was Ed, K6ESS. Hey, good morning, Russ, AI6LOP. And let's see, I'm sorry here. You guys throw the calls at me so fast, sometimes I just write down partials. WB7, there we go, prefix WB7UKX, good morning to their Dick. And W8LDT, good morning to Tim, got you in the log as well. And good morning to Patrick into DYI. It is truly good afternoon to Patrick. And whom did I miss? Anyone?
Bravo, Hotel Bravo.
Kilo Oscar 6, Echo Bravo, Quebec. KO6 HKT. AI6LZ.
Kilo Delta 6 Hotel Oscar November, still looking for the Sun in Forest Hill.
All right, Joe. And the sun just left Meadow Vista, so maybe it's headed your way for a brief second. KD6HON, good morning. Good morning to Bert, AI6LZ, got you in the log as well. Good morning, Colin, KO6HKT, got you in the log. And good morning to Stephen, KO6EBQ. And let's see, BHB, is that you, Brian?
No, it's Rick, Kilo Bravo 6, Bravo Hotel Bravo. Good morning, Brian.
I'm sorry, Rick. Yes, indeed. Thank you for checking in this morning. And I apologize on the mixing up the call there. And let's see, got everybody before that. So anybody else for the log before we shut down the Coffee Break Net?
Good morning, Brian and Annette. Katie HPZ, Brian here. Hey, I love your term, kerfuffle. I have a new word for my vocabulary.
Kerfuffle. Used in a word, in a sentence, man, that was a mess. That was a kerfuffle. Have a great day, Brian. KD9HBZ, you are in the log. Anyone else for the log as we shut her down?
K64.
morning, Jim, KE6POR, got you in the log as well. Have a wonderful Wednesday. All right, just a reminder, Donuts and Coffee in the Park, May 9th. Put it on your calendar if you want to meet some of the Coffee Break Net crew, some of the net control operators. We're going to be serving up coffee and donuts at the Recreation Park in Auburn, California. That's going to be on May 9th at 9 a.m. Bring your beach chairs, bring your, maybe your get on the air kits, your go kits, your POTA kits, your whatever, and maybe do a little activation from the park, show off your gear to others, or just enjoy some donuts and coffee. Free donuts and coffee hosted by Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club and served to you by the Coffee Break Net control operators. Donuts and coffee in the park. Put it on your calendar. This next Saturday, of course, is going to be the club breakfast at Mel's Diner, Highway 49 in Auburn, California, followed by the Fox Hunt at 9 a.m., pre-hunt meeting that tells you the frequencies and where the fox may be hidden. Area of town is going to be at Mel's parking lot at 9 a.m. That's going to be the Fox Hunt. The Fox Tender is going to be Matt, KO6IMP. Just a reminder, no Coffee Break Net coming up this Saturday, April 25th, because we're giving priority usage of this repeater to the Canyons Endurance Run. The Canyons Endurance Run is going to be using this repeater from Friday 10 a.m. until Sunday at 2 a.m. Yes, that's a real time. All-Star and Echolink connections will be in monitor mode during that time, so you can listen in, but All-Star and Echolink connections will not key up and transmit on the repeater. So there we go. Good morning, everybody. You have a wonderful day ahead. I'm Brian, AI6US, and it has been a pleasure to be here sitting with you and Monique and having some great conversations this morning. With that, I'm Brian, AI6US. This has been the Coffee Break Net, where the sun is always shining, the birds are singing, and the fish are jumping. This net sponsored by the Sierra Foothills Amateur Radio Club. We're here every day of the week, 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific time. Well, except next Saturday. I'm Brian, AI6US, returning the W6EK and connected nodes and repeaters back to normal operation. Have a wonderful day, everybody. 7-3.